Here's Purdy with a lot of time. Steps into one. Launching deep. Going for Brandon Ayuk. It is. Oh, he caught it off the ricochet. Penalty. Is he in?
Live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas, this is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com.
Here's Kansas City from the 19, throwing at the goal line, and it's caught by Kelsey for the touchdown.
Our coverage of Super Bowl 58 is brought to you by Allen Samuels House of Travel, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, TexasBeefHouse.com, IdealMRI.com, Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine, Marco's Pizza, Rogue Media, Camille Johnson Realtors, The Tyler Candle Company, United Nissan.
Third down, four-man rush. Purdy in some trouble. Escapes, looking for the first down. He's got it and more. Brock Purdy with the legs inside the 30.
365 Sports is turbocharged by Unite Private Networks. Find out more at UnitePrivateNetworks.com.
2nd and 10 to the end zone again, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Dion Bush, who just came in 2 plays ago for Mike Edwards.
Now here's David Smoak and Paul Catalina.
What a day today. Outside of what we will bring you when it comes to Super Bowl 58 here in Las Vegas, NFL headquarters in Radio Row, David Smoak, Paul Catalina, Emery Winter, and Garrett Ross running the mothership. All of our sponsors, you heard them, that help bring this coverage to you and also support 365 Sports. All right, I'm going to start with, I'm going to bury the lead. This is the most important story based on Baylor, and we didn't wake up knowing this was going to happen. Baylor AD Mack Rhoades is going to be on the College Football Playoff Committee. Now, we've had those who have served the committee. Big 12 has had nice representation, and I'm not so sure I'd want to be on the committee, but it is an honor when you are asked to serve to help decide it, especially even more difficult, well, maybe not, with now the 12-team playoff. And yes, we're going to get to that former coach of a hated rival who's now a part of the Baylor football staff.
Oh, I think that I don't know if I would want to be on the committee, and I think it's going to be maybe a little bit harder when you think about the 12-team playoff and you think about 4 power conferences and 2 that are really going to push the needle. I think that's what's going to make it hard to advocate for that 10th, 11th, 12th spot if there are 6 teams that are, say, all 9-3 and 10-2, whatever your records are, and their strength of schedules and all that are similar, and they've got the same kind of quality wins and quality losses and whatever formula you want to throw into it. If it comes down to a 10-2 Ole Miss versus a 10-2, say, Iowa State, what do you think's going to happen? And that's where, and look, it's good that, look, you've got a guy like Mack Rhoades, who's from the Big 12 and I don't think has any time for SEC agendas, which, I know that everybody that's on the committee said, no, there's no SEC agenda, but I think that was blown all to hell this year. So there absolutely was. They could have left the SEC out. Nobody would have said the wiser, and just could have complained about if Florida State got blown out by Michigan or Washington or whoever they played, just been another blowout game. I mean, what would have been different? But it is going to be a tough gig. But I knowing Mac and how measured he is, I like it for him. I like it for the Big 12. I think he can advocate for them.
Well, a lot of people have been on Mac's ass, let's be honest, because of the way football has gone, and a lot of it focused. The AD and the football job are connected, no question about it. And now this is something where he has a huge role within the Big 12. Now he has this role with the College Football Playoff Committee. And again, Dr. Livingstone, let's not forget about her role when it comes within the NCAA. Then, this was something that Ashley Hodge is one of the partners, owners of Sikkim365.com, dropped this little nugget, drove everybody in the forum section crazy. This was a post ramblings, scatter shooting, I think on Sunday morning after the win against Iowa State Saturday night in basketball. He just in all these words, like there's just one line about Gary Patterson and Baylor. And like everyone's, wait, what? And then there were some, what I consider those who I know that are sometimes in the forums or otherwise saying, hey, Patterson to Baylor is going to happen. So this morning, Colt Barber drops the official bomb that a coach that Baylor fans hate, that in some cases the program at one point hated, a coach that hated Baylor, a coach that he and Art Briles hated each other no matter whatever was said, is now going to be on Dave Aranda's staff at Baylor as a senior analyst. Aranda taking over the defense, still head coach. Patterson is another pair of eyeballs along with Matthew Pollage. Hell froze over this morning. Now, is it a right move? Is it a good move? What does it mean? That remains to be seen. Hell, you have Briles at TCU and Gary freaking Patterson at Baylor.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild to think it. I know that, we had a lot of people in the first tweet I got was like Chris Bartels kind of needling me saying,
I saw that.
Well, I thought Paul said it would never happen. I'm like, never thought it would. And there were a lot of people that, during the year this year, Garrett and I heard on the post-game show, it should be Gary Patterson should be the next head coach at Baylor. And I do think, and I tell him to his face, I think time as a head coach right now doesn't seem to be like his style fits that. But defensive analyst is a nice role for him. I don't think he's not really pushing to get in a head coaching job, is he? He hasn't been
he's been, I don't know what year was it, 21? Baylor had that really good team.
Yeah.
21, after that at the end of the year, the same year that Joey went to Tech, right? And then Patterson's gone. Is that same year? So it's been 22, 23. This will be his third and a half year out. He went to Texas, spent a couple of years. It depends on who you ask whether he made a difference there or not. Their defense this year was their best defense, and maybe some of the input the last couple of years helped. This is sports hypocritical.
Yeah.
I know, and I've seen it, that some Baylor fans are like, if he can help us win, who are also the same that have said, F him. Now, I'm going to have fun with this. Gary Patterson, before you step on the campus at Baylor, you must unblock thousands of Baylor fans that you spent time blocking for whatever damn reason for the last decade.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
He doesn't have time. He has no time to coach. He now needs to go back and unblock thousands of Baylor fans. Craig is on that list. Are you?
No.
I'm not. I remember texting Gary Patterson just a couple of weeks ago when Jared Anderson was hired as the tight ends coach, and
let's see.
I
am not blocked from following at football coach P.
Paxton's saying that he said Patterson for Baylor head coach months ago. I think most fans can at least put up with the analyst role. I know there's been some that have said, hey, why not him as the head coach? I think most people would say hell no.
I would tell you why not him. He just went 5-7 with a roster that went to the national championship a year later. There's reasons for that. I'm not dogging him as a coach. I think as a coach, especially as a defensive mind, he's next level brilliant, and that's what he needs to be doing. But head coaching is different now. He has a style that I don't think works anymore. I really don't think it does. I think that you're going to see more coaches, and I'm going to go cross sports here, but more Jamie Chadwells and Scott Drews and people like that are a little bit more, personable and not always like a snake in a basket. That's kind of how he was, just ready to strike at any time. And that last year, and I hope that he's found a little bit of, maybe relaxation, but you could tell the stress was getting to him because he started he always had some sort of weird conspiracy theories about things, but that last year, SMU was trying to hurt Jerry Kill and all these other things, it just got out of hand.
The tweet of the day, when I said he doesn't have time to coach, he has to unblock a lot of Baylor fans, thousands of Baylor fans. Orion Stewart, former Baylor safety, who could not stand Gary Patterson because Gary Patterson, remember, had that game in Fort Worth where he called out Ahmad Dixon. Ahmad Dixon was Orion Stewart's homie.
Well, he called them both out, but yeah.
Yeah, and Orion, after one of the games in which Baylor won, it might have been 61-58. God, I don't remember. He went up to Patterson and had a little confrontation, and Gary said something about no, and it was like, oh my God, he pulled a knife on me or something, but or threatened me. So this is interesting across the board. But
yeah.
Sports hypocritical. Some fans who hate him, who all of a sudden go, well, he might be able to help us win a games or two, and that's where you are right now with Baylor because they've struggled. Mm-hmm. Now, whose decision was this? Whose decision do you think this was?
It was Dave Aranda's decision.
It has to be Dave Aranda's. If it's not Dave Aranda's, then it's a bigger problem.
Well,
and I'm not saying it's a problem. Dave Aranda has before complimented and has had respect and has mentioned it about Gary Patterson. Whether this helps them win a game. If it just helps them beat TCU, and that fan base is like, damn, somebody went to the stadium where Gary Patterson has a statue at Amon Carter Stadium and put a Baylor T-shirt and a hat on him.
Yeah, it's a great picture.
I mean, and I want to give the guy credit who did that. He went to Rally House. Who was it?
I think it's Josh Conrad.
Josh Conrad, is that right?
Double check.
Golly, it was in the board. But okay, let's look at this from every angle. Does it help the staff? Gary Patterson being on the staff.
I would say it doesn't hurt it right now.
Okay.
I mean,
So you think that Gary Patterson, in any way, shape, or form, hiring him, part of him thinks if everything starts poorly, then I might have a chance to become the head coach.
No, I don't think that.
Josh Carson is the
Josh
correct
Carson.
name.
Josh Carson.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that at all. And I don't think
he
that
has been known to be manipulative.
Yeah.
He is known to try to get in people's ears. I spoke with several people who have either worked at TCU or worked for TCU, and they're like, man, be careful. Now, this is a place that he was below. He got a statue. Got a statue.
Yeah, and so...
And I don't know if we'll ever have a chance to visit with him, but the first thing I would ask him is, why did you not block me? I feel offended.
Yeah, he's probably not going to want to talk to me or Craig. But I don't know. I mean, like, this is Dave Aranda's decision. He respects the academics of people, their credentials when it comes to strategy and the way they break down film and the way that they build a game plan. And Gary Patterson, as far as building a game plan for an individual game defensively, there's not many that are as good as him. So I understand Dave Aranda reaching out. And look, if they get along, they get along. And look, Gary Patterson may be at the facility 10 hours a week and watching film all the rest of the time he's doing it. He may not be there. Like, these analyst roles are not necessarily, it's not as
hard work, hard labor.
Yeah, it's not, but it's not the, it's not the full-time head coaching gig or coordinator. We don't know what his hours are, but like, he's brought in to find the little things. That's what the analysts do.
He's almost like self-scouting, and yet he's also there making sure, okay, what about what I see on tape of it or film of an upcoming team or something?
Here's the other thing I know. If Dave Aranda does not succeed, then Gary Patterson's not going to be the next head coach because Gary Patterson's role in that wasn't helpful.
Well, because if that was the case, then he was available at the end of last season when there were some thoughts about what's going to happen.
And B, Mack Rhodes has a history of dismissing or locking horns and making sure that they know he's the athletic director with strong-willed head coaches.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So I don't know if he wants to get back in that business after the good Lord God moved the last strong-willed head coach to Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
There's no question, though, Aranda had to clear this with Mack. It's his football program, and probably had to sit down and explain a little bit to him.
You got to go ask him for money for it. Yeah.
For those of you who are on the chat, we'll have Jamal Lewis coming up in just a moment, Super Bowl champion, won a national title at Tennessee. He'll join us a little bit today. Also, we have Steve Largent, Lee Steinberg. We have, at the end of the show, Chef Roy Choi has a Netflix series about, I love cooking shows. I love the cooking. I love the Food Network, etc. He'll join us today a little bit after 5 o'clock. And there's other guests we have also on the show, including Kellen Winslow Sr. today, who will join us on 365 Sports. Now, Steve Largent's going to join us hopefully in the next 25 minutes or so.
Chuck Liddell is walking by, and I just need him to stay over there.
He still looks like he's aged though.
Yeah.
You could tell he's aged.
But the last time we encountered Chuck Liddell was in San Francisco. He was deathly ill, and
I remember that. Yeah.
Congratulations, thank you to him for coming and doing the interview with Craig and Q. But after that, all of us got the Chuck Liddell flu.
No, yeah, you did. But his mohawk is very thin now. It's like I don't know if it's because he doesn't have as much hair or he just now has it shaved down a lot less than that. All right, so Gary Patterson becomes whatever the title is, an analyst for Dave Aranda and the staff at Baylor. And I'm going to be fair enough with this. Let's see how it works. But it's weird. It's freaking weird. And it's like, no one ever tell me there's no way it can happen in any way. Bryles is on the TCU staff. Kaz Kazadi's on the TCU staff. Good for them. And also TCU. And yet, Gary Patterson at Baylor, I don't know if we'll ever have a chance to visit with him. I do have his number. I've texted him. I texted him about Jared Anderson. I texted him this morning. I went, interesting morning, or whatever it was. I don't know. And then, of course, the Baylor and Mack Rhoades now a part of the College Football Playoff Committee. I thought Mack was already being pulled in different directions. This is a time-consuming 3-month hammer throw.
Yeah.
Being a part of the College Football Playoff Committee.
However you feel about the committee, it's still a thankless job. It's a very
Jim
thankless
Grove is
job.
one of the nicest people we've ever met in the business. And he probably got some hate mail.
Yeah.
Former Wake Forest and Baylor interim head coach.
And I regret it.
You regret what?
The mail.
Oh, yeah, you said it to him. Yeah, you said it to him. Yeah, you actually did. Oh, my God. All right, so
it's more, it wasn't hate mail. It's more like, how could you do this to me?
Yeah, he didn't care a damn about you. Yeah, that's how much he was worried about what you were talking about. We have Steve Largent. So when we come back, he won a national title, as I said, at Tennessee. Hell of a running back. Had a 2,000-yard season his rookie year with Baltimore. Jamal Lewis on, and we do discuss Tennessee and college football and his career and mind and health wellness. All of that next, live from the Super Bowl and Radio Row on 365 Sports.
Alan Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Alan Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560 or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
This is 365 Sports.
The Sikkim 365 app is brought to you by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
We get Jamal Lewis with us, NFL Media Headquarters in Vegas, Radio Row. Here with Paul Catalina, I'm David Smoak, 365 Sports. Does this week, because of what it meant to you, still kind of give you goosebumps every time it comes back around or not?
Oh yeah, man. It's just one of them things where you played in the big dance, you won the big dance, and it's it's just good to get around and see a lot of the former players and current players and you guys and just everybody that I've seen over the years, and it's almost like this is the big conference for the NFL. So it's good to be back and see a lot of old and new faces.
Okay, what was it like to tackle you?
I tried to make it a bad experience. I tried to, but it was. My dad always told me, hit them before they hit you. So that's how I always approach the game.
What was the instincts, balance, inner core, vision? What of those in order were you best at as a running back?
Vision. My vision. I don't know. Vision, I think, was everything as far as being able to see it before it happened, being able to have good peripheral, being able to feel it, versus even seeing it. We always have things, you see this, but you feel that. Mm-hmm. So it's being able to have those that run instinctively and use that vision. That was my biggest asset, I think, of my game, outside of being able to run with good power and have speed to hit the home run when needed.
What were the practices like with that defense that was so good and physical? Is it, that you hear stories about how when the Dream Team practiced, that was the best basketball game of all time. Not any of the other things you saw, but you guys were so good up front on both sides of the ball. And of course you've got Ray Lewis over there that you're practicing. This is before they, shaved it down to what it is now. I mean, I'm sure you walk through practices and think, what are they doing? But what was that like?
Man, it was honestly coming in as a rookie. My first year, I didn't really know a lot of these guys, but you had to bring your lunch pail, you know what I'm saying, when it was time to go. And the coaches knew it, they didn't want me going up against Ray Lewis, every play and all the time, right? But you did have to get at least 3 or 4 plays in, right? And it was just one of them things where, you was going up against the best. You had to approach it, approach them like the best. And then when you got in the game, it was like, hey, look, man, we've done this. We've been there, done that. I'm not playing against anybody on this field that's better than Ray Lewis or Rod Woodson or some of these guys I got to go up against in practice every week.
Jamal, you had the great rookie year, and that also won the Super Bowl. After that, did you think then this is pretty easy?
Oh, yeah. I said, is this it? I got this figured out. Mm-hmm. But, there's a lot that goes into it from an organizational standpoint. There's a lot that goes into it from just the dynamics of the team, who's getting paid, who's coming up for contract, who's trying to get more playing time, who's battling for positions. So, in order to go to a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, things have to go right when you win a championship, and those things have to all fall in place the right way.
Who do you think was the most underappreciated member of that Ravens team?
Trent Dilfer. Mm-hmm. I think Trent Dilfer. Trent was he just didn't get the respect that he should have gotten. That just because of his past, or whatever. But I can tell you one thing, when he came into the huddle after we benched Tony Banks, I knew that it was going to be a change and it was going to be different. Because he came in the game, he said, hey, boys, let's go win this game. Like, where is this? But that's the veteran that he was, and hey, he came in, didn't make any mistakes. He knew what we needed to do to win, and I just don't think he got that credit.
Well, you know, like the thing, I'm interested to hear, and glad to hear you say that, because if anybody could have done it with your defense, then you would have had to bench Tony Banks, which.
Right, yeah. It was, I think that, you know, it was just, we wasn't able to get the offense going the way that Billick really wanted it to. And I don't think that he thought that we was going to be this team that was running the ball as much as we were and not throwing it downfield as much as we did, right? So it was something in that a head coach had to go in and change his dynamic. He had to go in and change his approach on this whole season, because now we got to head the ball off. We got to play good defense, and we got to make the least mistakes we can at throwing the ball and get it to Shannon Sharp. Like, that was, as a head coach, that's a offensive guru. Like, you have to bow down to this. Like, this is, you know, that was just a change, but it was changed for the better, and I think that had a lot to do with us going on to go and win a Super Bowl.
You played at Tennessee, had a great start there. Injuries took over. They've been in the news lately with the state of Tennessee suing the NCAA, and the NCAA going at them. Had the nice year 2 years ago with Heupel. Last year a step back. What your thoughts about where the Vols are?
Man, I like where they're at. Heupel, he's doing a great job. We're bringing in some good recruits. Just building on the program, because we had, you know, a decade, you know, if not longer, of just not doing good, you know, and the organization and that school is, and that program is much bigger than that, and we should be a player every year, you know. So I think they're bringing that back. You know, they're bringing that back, and I think they got the right people in there and putting the right pieces to the equation on the field. That's what it's all about.
Mind, body, and what depression has meant for a lot of people that never is they embarrassed to reach out. Is it hard to reach out? You were Mind Body Optimization. Jamal Lewis with us on this. Randy Grimes was on it with us earlier. What did that mean? Did you have a bout? Was it with the injuries? The career's over? Transition? When did you experience something like that?
I think it was more after, you know, I got done. Just not having that structure, not having the team doing everything for you, everything being laid out for you or whatever, and establishing that structure. That's when I dealt with a lot of depression and trying to figure out where am I going, who am I, what am I supposed to be doing. And because you always had this routine. I had a routine every year on how I'm going to approach the season. Everything was about getting ready for camp and getting ready for the season. But then when that's over with, that's done, the lights are out, the fans are gone. What do you do now? You know, and MindBodyO, MindBodyO.com, I've teamed up with them, and you know, it's all about, you know, bringing mental health to the masses, right? So therefore you have therapists and psychiatrists under one roof. So you don't have to go to different places. And as athletes, you know, you have to find that, you know, and you have to go see a therapist. Then you have to go somewhere else 2 or 3 weeks later, go see a psychiatrist just to kind of get your diagnosis, get your plan and what you're supposed to be doing and what you need to be doing to just have a better quality of life. And I think with MindBodyO.com, it's really helping bring that awareness and that attention to and focus to guys that, well, not just guys, but people that need to go talk. You need to share what's going on, you know, with you, get it out. I think the numbers were, you know, 4% or men are more likely, four times more likely to commit suicide than women. And that's because of just the state of who we are as men. You know, you're taking care of the home, you're taking care of everything, and you never want to see anybody see you sweat, right? Let anybody see you sweat. And I think that here's where it's okay not to be okay, right? So, you know, let that out, you know, talk to somebody. And MindBodyO is trying to bring that, you know, bring that awareness, you know, to everybody.
I would be remiss, Smokey, if I did not ask Jamal about one of the hardest days of my life. The 1998 Fiesta Bowl. As a Florida State
guy. He's wearing the garment right now.
As a Florida State alum, it was my freshman year. That game was so strange. I mean, I'm sure, like, from my perspective, it was very strange. Watching it, but you guys were kind of the team of destiny that year. You just went through, and T. Martin was great. You were in the back. You had a great backfield. You and Travis Henry, who I played against in high school, and ran roughshod over me then. But what was that year like for you?
Man, it was one of those things where Peyton was gone, and you just didn't know. We knew what T could bring to the table, but we just lost the field general. You know what I mean? We just lost the man. And honestly, I knew what I had to do, and that was kind of take the pressure and take the load off of the quarterback. So I did my part, just trying to run hard and make that happen. But after that, I think I ended up getting injured about the fourth game of the season, and you could just tell everybody just pulled together. Pulled together, rallied behind T, and it was just game after game after game. We just knocked it down, and things just kind of fell in our court. But, man, if you look back at that team, we had a lot of great players on that team.
Peerless Price.
Oh, yeah. Peerless Price, T, myself, Al Wilson, that defense, Jonathan Brown. We had some guys over there that was just awesome.
So in a matter of 3 years, you won a national title, and then you won a world title.
Right.
That's pretty good.
It was awesome. Yeah,
did the loss to Nebraska help you guys get ready for the next year?
Oh, yeah. After that
they
game,
were really, really good.
Man, they were really good. They destroyed us, man. It was just physical, and I think that left a bad taste in our mouth going into that next season where, look, we knew what we had to go do, and we put in the work.
Which Colquitt was it? Dustin Colquitt that was your punter?
No, the other one. It was Colquitt. It was Dustin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know the Colquitt.
The key play in the game was roughing the punter, which was.
Right.
He and I have a history with Nebraska, Florida State big moments where Florida State got the edge on a call. So
you're a Nebraska guy?
Yeah, I was born in Omaha. Yeah.
So that was my first choice.
Was it? Well, you? Oh my
Nebraska was my first choice.
Was Amon Green there already?
Amon Green was there, but Lawrence Phillips had just left, and I was a big Lawrence Phillips fan. He had just left. Tom Osborne calling your phone.
Damn.
Like, what the, come on. Like, Tom Osborne calling your phone.
You in that offense would have been phenomenal, along with what they had already in the depth.
So what flipped it?
Well, basically, Peyton was staying at Tennessee, and Jay Graham had just left or whatever, and then the opportunity was there that I could go come in and play, and it was a 14-hour drive to Nebraska for my parents, 3 hours to Tennessee. So.
Jamal, again, for you to speak out and also let everyone know, mindbodyo.com. If you need to share or talk or get something out, nothing wrong with that. Contact mindbodyo.com. Thanks for the great career you had. Thanks for the time we had today.
Hey, thanks a lot. You guys have a good one.
Jamal Lewis, former Tennessee and Baltimore Ravens star on 365 Sports.
Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Alan Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560 or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
This is 365 Sports.
The Sikkim 365 app is brought to you by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
We are back in Las Vegas, Nevada, a place no one ever thought the Super Bowl would ever come and visit for the longest of time. Steve Largent, Hall of Famer, with us, Seattle Seahawks Hall of Fame wide receiver, University of Tulsa. You pointed back. No one could have ever seen this coming.
I never would have said the NFL was going to hold their Super Bowl in Las Vegas. It was just the city of sin.
Yep.
And the NFL wasn't going to have anything to do with it, and something's changed.
Well, money. They got a lot of money,
yeah.
Millions and bazillions or whatever of money, but that has a lot to do with it. When you hear Hall of Fame attached to your name, does it still give you goosebumps?
Yes. It's like, wait a second. That really, I did do that.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great career. With us again, Steve Largent, Paul Catalina, David Smoak, 365 Sports.
You were one of the most polished route runners in the league. You gave people fits because you're not a big guy. I mean,
right.
like, if you look at guys like Calvin Johnson, look, Jerry Rice is bigger than you. Like,
right.
You're not a big guy. How much was that, like, psychological advantage that you used, knowing that, like, maybe they said, oh, I've got him. Like, that last guy didn't get him, but I'm better than that last guy.
Right.
And you were going to be like, no, I'm going to be open.
Yeah. Well, and that was always my attitude. I was going to be open. But I did sort of play that game of, kind of psyching them out about, running routes. There's a lot to running routes. It's not just, run down and turn around and catch the ball. There's a lot to it. And so I tried to be as technical as I possibly could and change up my routes and change up the way I ran them so that they would never get any keys off me.
How many reps does it take before you get on the same page with Dave Craig or whoever's throwing the ball to you?
It takes some time. It does. I'd be lying if I didn't say so. But, Dave was on our team for like 3 or 4 years before he became a starter. Jim Zorn was, of course, our quarterback. Then he broke his ankle and never really came back from that. But, it took a little bit of time, but not too much time. Dave was our second team quarterback, and so there was a lot of times I was, catching routes from him. And so it didn't take long to get up to speed.
When you think about Seattle's got a coaching change with Pete Carroll gone for a long time, won a Super Bowl, may have won, possibly could have won 2 or 3. You look at your former team. What do you see with what they're doing right now in the offseason?
Well, I think that changing coaches was a necessary evil. Pete was a good coach, a good guy. Never had a harsh word to say to me or anybody else that I know of. But I just think, Pete was 72 years old, and it was time for a change. So it didn't surprise me. And I think the new coach that came in is really just what they need. He's 36 years old, a young guy, be the youngest head coach in the NFL right now. And I think he brings a defensive mindset, which is something that they need to do, is have a stronger defense than they've had in the years past. So it'll be interesting to see how he does.
There's some fun wide receivers in that on that team.
DK Metcalf,
Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, Tyler Lockett from Tulsa.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of people to work with and really do well as a team. But getting a new coach, I think, is a good thing for them. I don't, Pete Carroll was a great coach, won a Super Bowl, was in another one. And so, you can't really say much negative about Pete other than he, like all of us, was getting older.
Yep.
And 72 years old, I think it was time to hang it up.
You have all the awards you could imagine. Of course, the Gold Jacket's the one that is immortality. But what did it mean when you won NFL Man of the Year?
Well, that's where they look at kind of your whole history of what you've done for the league and for your team and for different organizations in your city. And so that was something that I just did. I didn't do it to win most valuable player or whatever it was, but I just did it because I felt like that I needed to give back in the community that had supported me for so long.
I'm going to ask, I've been wondering this all day since we knew we were going to have you. And we need to get it political here, but you used to be in Congress.
I did.
And do you wake up in the morning and thank God that you don't have that job anymore?
Every single morning I wake up and say that. Yes, it is a lot different bird of prey that's going on in Washington right now, and it's really disappointing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you see that coming? Did you see? No. It's happened pretty quickly, hasn't it?
It has, like within the last 3 or 4 years. It's gotten worse anyway in the last 3 or 4 years, and so I didn't see it coming. I think that it's such a revered institution, and to see it go into a demise was really disappointing to me. Really disappointing.
Absolutely. Anyway, it used to be the two sides didn't agree on the same way to solve the problem. Mm-hmm. Now they don't agree that the same thing is a problem.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And when they agreed on, like, maybe they didn't even agree on necessarily the right way to do it, but they knew they had to do it anyway.
Yeah.
They could come up with a solution that both sides could live with, and they can't even do that now.
Yeah.
No, it's almost as if, and again, you can't agree with the other side, or you yourself probably.
Or you're not a good guy.
Or you're not a good person.
Right.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
Even if it's a good idea and it should be done, it's not the same. What is it about Tulsa? Drew Pearson, Steve Largent. What is it about that school that it seems like it's a G5, whatever one, but it does feed the NFL?
Yeah.
It does feed the National Football League.
For some reason, we've been able to attract a lot of talent in our football program at the University of Tulsa, and they've really done very well. But I don't know what for me, I can tell you why I went to school there. It was because my grandfather sat me down and said, Steve, you got a lot of opportunities to go to different schools, but the University of Tulsa is a great school. You'll get a great education there. You'll get a great diploma, and I think that'd be a great place for you to go. And I listened to my grandfather. My dad left my mom when I was 6 years old, and so he was kind of a godly figure and a man of man, and I listened to him. And I think he was absolutely right. I got a great education there at the University of Tulsa. Jerry Rome came back my last 3 years, and that was a godsend. And so it was. It turned out to be the perfect place for me to be.
Jerry Rome was one of those guys. He's a Coryell level innovator, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, he's at that level. Jerry was just a really smart guy. He still is a very smart guy who knew exactly what he wanted to do when you took the field, and I just have all the respect in the world, and I love Jerry Rome.
Steve, when we have interviews with Hall of Famers, whoever, there's always a connection with a company or a cause. Pork rinds, your thoughts about, this is hot honey flavored, smoke flavor added, Southern recipes, pork rinds. We've had pork rind representatives on the show many, many times. Your thoughts about the company?
Well, you eat those hot honey pork rinds, and if there's not tears in your eyes, something's wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the Gridiron Greats is a fantastic institution.
It is. It started by Mike Ditka 10 or 15 years ago to raise money for guys who are really hurting, that don't have the kind of support that players have now after they finish their career. And he's just done a great job with it. And so I'm helping Mike with his efforts to raise more money for these players by helping the pork rind industry and being here today.
I'll never forget. This is my 30th Radio Row, and I remember when they first. And it was
30. Wow.
There were like some that were like, okay, what are they doing? And then all of a sudden it picked up, not just because Mike Ditka or what you're doing now, but it made sense.
Yeah.
Former players who need some help from the former players.
That we all loved, and really the back of the NFL's back was built on these guys.
They didn't have the benefits.
Right.
I mean,
that's exactly right.
You couldn't make $50,000 on TikTok just by going.
My first 3 years in the league, I made $28,000, $35,000, and $42,000.
There you
I
go.
didn't make $50,000, and I was in the Pro Bowl my third year.
Well, what are you complaining about?
Again, it's Southern Recipe, a small batch. It's pork rinds. It's Hall of Fame wide receiver, University of Tulsa great, Seattle Seahawks, and with the Oilers for a handful of time. And again, Steve Largett with us on 365 Sports. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget, from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Alan Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560, or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Here's Purdy with a lot of time. Steps into one. Launching deep. Going for Brandon Ayuk. It is. Oh, he caught it off the ricochet. Penalty. Is he in?
Live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. This is 365 Sports. Powered by Sikkim365.com.
Here's Kansas City from the 19. Throwing at the goal line. And it's caught by Kelce for the touchdown.
Our coverage of Super Bowl 58 is brought to you by Alan Samuels House of Travel, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, TexasBeefHouse.com, IdealMRI.com, Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine, Marco's Pizza, Rogue Media, Camille Johnson Realtors, The Tyler Candle Company, United Nissan.
Third down, four-man rush. Purdy in some trouble. Escapes, looking for the first down. He's got it and more. Brock Purdy with the legs inside the 30.
365 Sports is turbocharged by Unite Private Networks. Find out more at uniteprivatenetworks.com.
2nd and 10 to the end zone again, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Deion Bush, who just came in 2 plays ago for Mike Edwards.
Now here's David Smoak and Paul Catalina.
A man who revolutionized the position of tight end, Hall of Famer Kellen Winslow Sr. here with us at 365 Sports Radio Row, here with Southern Recipe Small Batch, Past the Pigskin. These are some of my favorite ones every year because we get to talk about pork rinds. As you can tell, I'm a pork rinds fan.
I couldn't tell.
You couldn't tell?
You know, what was my first clue? I don't know.
You are... especially in your era, you were a bit of a unicorn. Tight ends were not maybe as fast as you, kind of a smaller offensive lineman for the most part. When you got into the league and they started doing different things with it, I mean, you guys were doing different things on offense, all of that. Was it fun to watch people be befuddled about all the things you kind of were doing and like, these guys are nuts throwing the ball this much?
I was a part of what came to be known as Ed Coryell.
Yeah.
Coach Don Coryell, who just got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame last year, you know, long overdue, changed the game of football. When one night in a meeting he decided that, well, we can take out the fullback and we can put this rookie tight end that they drafted, moved up in the draft to get him on the field, and he can do some of the things that the fullback does. I happen to be that tight end. And it changed the game of football. And it's not because of I was this talent that had never been seen before in the National Football League. It was just that talent that other people had was now being used in that fashion. So I kind of, I don't cringe. I take, I'm humbled by the fact that people say you changed the position. But I didn't call the plays. It was Don Coryell, who was the head coach. It was Joe Gibbs, who was the offensive coordinator. We all know what Joe Gibbs has done over the years in his career. It was Ernie Zampese, who was our receiver coach and became the offensive coordinator after Joe went to Washington. It was just being a part of that franchise at the time. A lot of guys, John Mackey, Mike Ditka, Charlie Young, Charlie Sanders, Ozzie Newsome, all could have done what I did, but they didn't play for San Diego. I did.
Now the position is more like it was like for you guys because of Eric Coryell. I mean, we were kind of in it's the tight end era right now when you've got guys like Kittle and Kelsey and look, Jake Ferguson in Dallas is really, really fun to watch.
Exactly.
And you know, of course, I mean, Travis Kelce's the biggest celebrity in this game all of a sudden, but he's also probably the best tight end in the league. It's got to be weird for you, like as a member of the fraternity to watch it, but also as a member of the Chargers to watch a Chief do so well.
Well, you know, you have being a Charger player and playing the Chiefs twice a year and being in the AFC, I got to go with the AFC to win because, you know, that's, you know, loyalties. I spent all 9 years in the AFC West playing the Chiefs. That's something that's not going to happen very often anymore with free agency, but I spent my entire career with San Diego. And Andy Reid is a good guy. He coached at Missouri for a time. Just a lot of fun to be around. And yeah, I love watching Patrick play. And you know, remember his dad as a ball player. And so I go with Kansas City. I lived in Kansas City for a couple of years.
It's great.
Got family there. You know, barbecue. You can start that fight. You know, who's got the best barbecue? I'm gonna go to Kansas City. And a lot of reasons to pick Kansas City.
Yeah, look, I was there with my wife and brother-in-law last weekend. We went to a Kansas game. And big Kansas people.
Right.
But he asked me, he said, what do you think is the best barbecue? I said, I don't think it's like the best of what you like. certain things are better in certain places.
That's true.
Because they focus on them different. Like in Kansas City, the burn-in, like nobody does burn-ins like Kansas City.
Exactly.
Yeah. Texas, we do brisket really well. That's our thing, maybe. And then everybody's ribs are different, so it just depends on your personal taste, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So that's
of course the St. Louis short ribs. You can get those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yours the baby backs there.
Your alma mater, Mizzou, had a fantastic year this year under Eli Drinkwitz.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Yeah, and it feels look they've got a big anonymous donation coming in for their stadium now. That's going to help that. What's it like to see your alma mater start to put the pedal to the floor a little bit and try to win again?
Was it 3 years ago that they finished the end zone project?
Yeah,
the facility project, and that was needed in order to compete in the SEC. They ranked players from 1 through 5 coming out of high school. Without that facility, we were not able to draw a 4 and a 5.
Yeah.
We were able to get a 2 and a 3. But we were playing Georgia, we were playing Alabama, we were playing LSU, that as a class of 85 D1 players probably averaged a 4 at some of those schools.
Yeah.
So getting that facility and being able to have that is a showpiece, and this is where you're going to work every day in order to reach your goals academically and athletically, really help Missouri become more competitive.
So let's talk about Pass the Pigskin and the Gridiron Greats Fund. It's a nonprofit, and Rudolph Foods has backed it. I've talked to Mark. Mark is a great, unbelievably great guy.
He played football in high school.
Yeah.
He told me about that last night.
Yeah. He's a big SMU guy.
Big SMU guy. He told me about when he played against Billy Sims in high school.
Yeah.
And he realized that he's not a D1 football player because of the way Billy Sims played.
I have a similar story about Edgerrin James.
Exactly.
The guy ran right through me, and I knew it. 15 years old. You know what? I'm gonna play this couple years out.
We all have to know what our Clint Eastwood and Dirty Harry. A man's got to know his limitations.
Yes.
I'm paraphrasing on that one. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what brought you involved with Gridiron Greats?
Well, Mike Ditka. Has been doing this for a number of years during a time when the NFL and the NFL Players Association could have been doing a better job, or should have been doing a better job in providing benefits for players who are retired, and taking care of them. So Mike Ditka, being who he is, being a leader, stepped up and said, we're going to start this, and we're going to put together this fund, and we're going to find a way to reach out to those individuals who have fallen through the cracks and make sure that we can help them. And that's what's been going on for the last 20 years. The pork rind folks have been involved the last 15 years, I do believe, in making Coach Ditka's foundation work.
Yeah, I've been to the party that they've thrown, and it's always great, and it does. I think people assume that football players always had a bunch of money, or they keep a bunch of money, or they always had health insurance, and it's only recently the case that the money's good, the health insurance is there for. I mean, you guys had to fight for years.
For years
to get the health insurance.
We had to fight for free agency, and then for years we had to fight for post-career benefits. Once our union began to understand that that's part of their responsibility as a union to their membership, is to fight for those benefits for those individuals who came before. Some emphasis was put on that, and some pressure was put on to make those things happen. I'll give you an example. I retired in 1987. 87 was my last year. 30 days after I retired, I paid a COBRA bill of $1,800 a month.
That's insane.
But because that's the way the system works. Of course, the Chargers had great insurance, and me not knowing much about insurance, I quickly got a broker and worked my way off of that COBRA program. But that's what happened 30 days after I retired.
But you also, you retired, and you may not have a job right away. Even if you're planning to have a job, you might need some training, all these things.
You might have a job. You may have a job with decent benefits. I went to law school after I retired. I took a year off playing golf, and I made those COBRA payments, and then I went to law school, and then found insurance through another method. But you just become that average guy. No longer can you just, the doctor doesn't come to you because you're in the locker room, or if it's a podiatrist or the urologist or whatever specialist it is that comes to orthopedists to come to the locker room. I had to go make an appointment and go sit in the waiting room to see that doctor because I was no longer a member of that organization. So it's a lot of life changes that you go through, and a lot of guys have dealt with anxiety, dealt with abuse of alcohols or drugs, depression, and have fallen through the cracks as far as what needs to be done to have a great post-career after playing in the National Football League.
All right, a couple Chargers questions before I got to let you go to the next one. I mean, you're in the car wash today, I know. But Jim Harbaugh, coach of the Chargers now, what do you think about that?
No opinion. I really, I'm still debating that one.
Yeah. I am. The proof will be in the pudding. You're right.
It'll be in the pudding, but I think what's really going to help the Chargers is the fact that they're building a facility for the Los Angeles Chargers.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, they're building a facility that's going to be home for them. They're no longer in Orange County playing their home games in Los Angeles. It's not a temporary facility. They're going to have a facility that's theirs. And we all know that stability in an organization comes when you know you have a home.
Yeah.
Stability in the family comes when you know you have a home. But if you're just kind of spread out, moving from one part to the next, it's hard to be focused on the bigger picture of winning.
Does your heart ache a little bit for the people of San Diego, though, that they don't have the Chargers anymore?
Yeah, it does. That's why I said San Diego, because to me, there'll always be the San Diego Chargers.
Me too.
When I go to San Diego and I see the Q, Qualcomm Stadium gone, it's a big hole. It really is a big hole.
Yeah. Kellen Winslow Sr. here with us, NFL Hall of Famer, past the pigskin. It's been an honor meeting you and talking to you. One of my, I'm pro tight end and fullback. I miss the fullback. I love tight ends. It's
the second tight end.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
the fullback. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. That's Kellen Winslow Sr. here with us on 365 Sports.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected, get involved. Learn how at baylor.edu/alumni.
In our logo and advertising, we say we are people that you can count on. What does that mean? It starts with providing a quality vehicle and quality service at a fair price. But it also means we do what we say we will do, and we treat people fairly with respect. It starts by hiring great people, good local folks who work hard with a caring attitude. Our employees are the real reason we are people that you can count on. Put us to the test and see for yourself that at Richard Carr Motors, we are people you can count on.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Our good friend Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jewelers here at 365 Sports. Now, Brad, people who watch and listen to our show know I'm a double-time customer for you, engagement ring and wedding band, and you guys do that great, but that's not all you do at Boozer's Jewelers.
Absolutely. And I always like to say, it's a new year. It's a great way to start the year out. Go through your old jewelry. Go through your wife's jewelry box. Go through anything you're maybe not wearing, something that's broken, something that you're not using. We do a massive amount of custom work. We can take your old jewelry, old diamonds, old watches, and we can convert it into something special for you and make a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry. And if that's not something you're interested in, a great thing is we can turn that into cash. So we buy gold, we buy diamonds, we'll buy Rolex watches, any kind of heirloom jewelry, anything that's maybe passed down to you.
Boozer's Jewelers, where do they find you, Brad?
We're at 1025 North Valley Mills Drive, right on the corner of Lake Air Drive and Valley Mills with the big clock on the corner.
This is 365 Sports. Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
UW fan Jim, huge Washington fan, but also awesome interview with the greatest Seahawks player ever on the chat room. Glad we were able to do that for you, Jimbo. Thank you very much. He was as consistent as you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, he was. And I think that's the consensus among most Seahawks fans is Steve Largent was the greatest. And they've had some really great ones. But Steve Largent, man, he was fun to watch. He had that. He was one of the last ones with that face mask, too, if you remember.
Oh, yeah. As a receiver.
Yeah.
Obviously, and that's in the day and age where you had safeties who would, take their forearm and shove your nose back up into your brain. Also, Jim Zorn to Largent was amazing. Me and my friends spent hours pretending to be them. Probably in the backyard throwing the ball around. Steve Largent, a star, incredible. Let go from the Oilers to Seattle, where he had Jerry Rome. He brought that up. Huntsville to Houston after he was released, and then advice he got after the advice he got that he could play in the league. He was, and let's be honest with you, he was faster than people thought because he was a white receiver. He was efficient. He had great route running, great skills, but he also had great hands and also a lot sneaky fast than most people realize. We're still in that age, like Christian McCaffrey's a white running back or XYZ's a white corner. It's true though. I mean, that's the exception to the absolute rule. Let me see. Oh, someone said boo on Missouri with Kellen Winslow Sr. He was a bad Mo. Yeah, he was. He was unbelievable. The game that I always remember with him will be the Chargers game against the Dolphins. Wasn't that the overtime game, the playoff game, when Fouts and Winslow had the monstrous game? And I guess they may have won that game, and then perhaps somebody correct me if I'm wrong, lost in the championship game. But they had that game where Winslow, everyone was exhausted. I can't remember what year that was. May have been in the early '80s.
Yeah, I asked him about the Chargers leaving San Diego as well, and he said that's why I still call them the San Diego Chargers.
It's hard. You remember how long it took me?
He said it's. He goes, but you see that he was in San Diego and saw that the Qualcomm Jack Murphy's gone, not there anymore, and. He said he likes what they're doing. They're building a permanent facility for the Chargers now and all that. He said he would reserve comment on Jim Harbaugh until Jim Harbaugh coached, which was a very diplomatic answer, but I don't know if he was totally nuts about the idea. It was a really good interview. It was very insightful. He talked about Air Coryell, as you guys heard, and that offense, and he said that I said, well, I mean, everybody says he goes, I'm really a groundbreaker. He's like, I was just fortunate to be in the offense with Don Coryell, who was doing the stuff that nobody else was doing. He's like, Ozzie Newsome and Mike Ditka and all those guys would have had the same numbers that I did, except for the fact that they weren't playing with Don Coryell, who thought, hey, we should throw the ball at that guy more.
Yeah, you should see the tight ends catches numbers, the reception and yards numbers back in the 60s and 70s. Game was different. That was a 1981 divisional game against Miami when he basically had to be peeled off the ground, off the bench, get back on the field, had an unbelievable game in his career and eventually into the Pro Football's Hall of Fame. Now, we do this every year. The many times we've been here, we get involved in this, and you have seen the energy behind us or whatever, and some of you are very bad people looking at the scenery.
That's what they're going to start calling it. Energy.
Like
the next time, that's going to be the code word. Is they're going to be like, there's a lot of energy going on behind you. So much energy.
Yeah, there was. Some of you have been distracted. We already have Emory to do that. We don't need the audience to be distracted either.
I think
background music.
But they saw Chuck Liddell. I think they saw Chuck Liddell.
I sent that to Craig.
Yeah.
You had told me the last time you saw him was in San Francisco. He was sick as a dog, and then everybody but me got sick. And Craig goes, looks like he's got kind of a gut now, but at least he's not deathly ill like he was in San Francisco. When he probably should not have been around everybody. Surprised. Like if that would have been in the year of COVID, everyone would have fled the building, from fear.
I got way sicker from Chuck Liddell than I ever did from Rudy Gobert. No,
Rudy Gobert.
No, it was a bad flu. And I remember when I got sick, I was mad at him for being there and getting us all sick. And then I was like, well, dude, I would not be walking around to 70 interviews being like,
dude,
I got
UFC,
that just 25
stuff coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Retired stockbroker, a super chat. Kellen Winslow Sr. Steve Parks from Mizzou said hello.
Yeah, he's around. When he walks back by here, I'll grab him again and tell him that.
How about this wet blanket? Steve Largent was Wes Welker before Wes Welker. Both are from Oklahoma.
Yeah. He was. Yeah, he was.
He would have been that. That role.
He would.
And that offense.
He scored 100 touchdowns anyway.
Yeah.
So can you imagine a guy from that era where it was more ground and pound, but it was more wide open than it had been in the era before him.
Right.
But if you put Steve Largent in the offenses today, he had 100 touchdowns in his career in a time where people didn't catch 100 touchdown passes. He would have 180.
I wonder how many times he would have been running that kind of pattern if he would have been a slot receiver.
Well, I mean, he would have been you think about the red zone, though.
No, in the red zone.
Where it would have been, that.
Kyle Visser mentioned Jason Sehorn as far as a white corner. Kyle Visser, I need to scold you, sir. In the comments section, what was the day we got knocked off for 8 minutes?
That was Tuesday.
No, Tuesday. It was Tuesday.
Okay, we got knocked off. And in the comments section, it wasn't Kyle Visser that's on the chat room, but it was K Visser 08. The greatest 8 minutes in YouTube history.
Come on, man. Come on. Look.
I may just nuke his ass right here.
No. It's fine. I think that's funny.
That's it. He was. I don't know. I mean, Kyle has a vicious part of him.
And sometimes you need that to survive in the rough world of YouTube. But
Paxton said Chuck Liddell could still probably throw some hands. Of course he could.
Yeah.
You don't lose that. Even you may lose your quickness, whatever. When you have power, you have power.
You know what? If something goes down here, and you need hey, you got to go punch this dude, I'm going to get Chuck Liddell and be like, look, if you can get close. He's like, no, I'm sure he'd be like, no problem, I got this.
So there we are with a little bit of that. So Elise Steinberg will join us in about 20 minutes. Patrick Mahomes, agent of Show Me the Money. That's where the show came from. We need to ask him about Sean Stelato's comments about Steinberg and all that.
Garrett had a great question we're going to ask him about. Is he impressed with Jimmy Sexton's near dominance of the college coaching profession?
I saw Sexton's name come up in an NFL type because he's got them all. He's got them all. It makes me wonder. He's obviously doing a great job, but it makes me wonder: is there almost a monopoly that he has when it comes to agents?
With coaches, I mean, he's got so many.
Because he changed. Scott Boras has done this, so let's not act like it's the first. Garrett, will you just turn that up just slightly on my?
Yeah, I got you.
Scott Boras has done this when it comes to baseball, and there were thoughts that maybe that he hurt the game.
Right.
You know what he did? He got his clients the money. That's his job.
Yeah.
It's like attorneys who win lawsuits, where you like them or not, or whether they win lawsuits. But man, Jimmy Sexton's got a chunk. And remember, there was a time. I'm missing a couple of the different agents in the NFL, but no one has what he has.
No.
I need to Google who's the agents of the stars in the NFL and where Sexton's name is compared to somebody else, Marky Mark or whoever.
I think he's got most of the coaches. There's other people with more players, but the players he's had are always pretty big. His first client ever, his big one, was Reggie White. And he built it from there. So, really, he's got it on lock when it comes to these agents,
all right,
the coaches.
Here's what they have. the ranking the 10 most powerful NFL player agents in the league today. It's been a while. So this is not a, but Jimmy Sexton at the time was number 10. Steinberg had fallen backwards at 9. He was the guy, the man known for the 1980s and 90s. Jason Fletcher, don't know. David Dunn, he's the one that split off from Steinberg and created part of what Steinberg's empire fell. Joel Siegel, Eugene Parker, a lot of Cowboys with him, right? Todd France, remember him? Drew Rosenhaus is still very active.
Yeah, he's here today.
Ben Dogra, he was,
RG3.
I believe, RG3s, and I'm not so sure if he wasn't, but he was RG3s because we had to deal with him one time. He was okay, but, and then also Tom Condon, who was forever and ever.
Tom Condon's the number one. He is.
But that's from a decade ago. I'm not sure how much that power struggle or how much that power, that chain or list. Retired stockbroker, Dirty White Boys at Al Forno is Largent and Welker. Tiger Steinberg, Mark Steinberg, wasn't it? Yes. I think Tigers is Mark Steinberg, not least. No, it is. It's Mark Steinberg. Yeah. And I don't know. Dan Marino's agent had Joe Montana, Steve Young. Yes, he did. Steinberg had them all. Steve Young, that was a monstrous contract. Aikman, monstrous contract. Marino, more earlier than that, he was the agent of the great quarterback.
Yeah, no, he certainly. That's how he grew and grew and grew. But he had other people too. You know, Eugene Parker had Dion. That was Dion's agent, and he had a lot of Cowboys. He had a lot of those players. I think he had Michael Irvin. I want to say he had Michael Irvin and Dion.
Who?
Eugene Parker.
I think I've seen, and I saw Irvin's agent here earlier, and I don't think that's who it is. He might have been representative, or maybe when Parker was younger, a part of the same group.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, like it's probably changed a lot over the years. You know, different agents, different things. So, I mean, at least Steinberg's not Troy Aikman's agent anymore because it's not in their wheelhouse. Like he's not doesn't need a football agent. He's got an entertainment agent now. That's a different thing.
He's a completely different animal.
Yeah.
So, for those of you watching us, we're in Radio Row, NFL Media Headquarters. What about what you see here? Because some of you have not seen this from a year ago when we were in Glendale or when we were in Miami, of course, Tampa, when it was COVID and there was nobody else in the room but like us in 5 stations. What about what you've seen is something that you don't quite yet know or understand, or how we go about our protocol, guest, what we do here at NFL? And would you love to be here? Because I'm glad we get to come back every year, but as I get older, I travel less, not because I don't like to travel. I go see my brothers, etc. But it is what this used to be. It's so much more spread out than it's ever been before. There's more stations here than ever before, but it doesn't have the gangs of New York mentality that I've seen before.
No, part of me appreciates that, and then part of me bummed out about it because we were able to sometimes squeeze out some pretty big guests kind of out of nowhere. But now, like, you go up to somebody like, oh, hey, does,
Jerry Rice
have
Joe
time?
Montana, yeah.
And they're like, no, because they come in with a specific plan. They're going to these 10 places, and then they're leaving. And look, that's fine. Like, I'm not, but it's a bummer because we've gotten some great guests that way. And we'll still continue to get great guests, and we'll get some big timers, but it's become a little bit harder. Everything's become a little bit more contained. Social
I
media
think the
now.
people who are the runners have gotten smarter.
Yeah.
That you don't walk in this door without a plan, or you're going to get stuck on 4 other stations. And quite frankly, the talent that you have, whoever it might be, pitching a company, which most of them do, or just here because you're Cam Newton or whoever, I think they've learned.
Yeah. I would like all of you to please share with your friends and get us our likes and subscriptions up. That way, we don't even have to do this. They'll just bring them to us.
Yes.
Like Pat McAfee just claps. And
he's about 50 yards away from us.
And somebody comes there. And look, he's earned that because he's got the biggest sports show in the world right now. But yeah, that's the life over across, like the area that we're in. Cam Newton is right over here. His 4th and 1 podcast is down there, and Cam's pretty much going to get who he wants because he's Cam. But, ESPN radio is right behind us, or digital. Like they're doing their thing back here. So they kind of get what they want. But everybody else here in the middle area, in the bullpen area, so to speak, we got to hustle a little bit. We got to get people on. They're not just going to fall in your lap. So you might be if you're in a big city, but even if you're in a big city, Vegas might want Dan Marino, and LA might want Dan Marino, and all this, and then the PR company is going to make the determination that is best to spread out their information time. So,
I think Warren Moon's another quarterback that Lee Steinberg may have had. Yeah. So also,
he was here yesterday.
Vegas is always hopping. Being there would be cool, but I'd need an extra couple of days to probably chill. Vegas has always been a place to me that you want to be here for a couple of days.
Yeah, we've been here 2 days longer than we normally would.
You're asking for trouble.
Yeah, we've been here 2 days longer than most people would stay. So we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, and then also, let's see.
And Emory's a really bad influence on me, and
all I know is I've been home and asleep hours before the degenerates.
Oh, I mean, no.
It hasn't been that long.
Well, okay, yesterday, what time did you get home?
About 11:30.
I was home by like 9:10.
See, that's not that big of a difference.
You guys beat me by about 4 hours.
What do you mean?
You beat me by about 4 hours.
You got home at 2:30?
No, 1:30.
Where was he, Garrett?
So we came over to meet his twin, and we got here at this Irish place, this Irish pub. It was super crowded in there, and me and Emory were so hungry. We were like, dude, we just go get a pizza. Let's go home. And so he was here. He was here having a good time at the Mandalay Bay.
Oh, yeah, the Irish pub, Rera's.
Oh, the Irish pub in the
up here in the
yeah,
with
okay.
Mike Gill. I mean, I only get to see my long lost 4 years older twin brother once a year.
There were people in the chat room that said, "Oh dear God, there's another Paul Catalina."
Oh, look, we could if we were the picture we have, it looks like we split at the cellular level. An amoeba.
It was very it made me have to go. Which one's which? Dustin, you guys get great guests, even better than the dominant stations in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. I mean, I think y'all rival everyone or better than any station or podcast I listen to. And Dustin, that means a lot. There are some that are bigger, better, I say bigger and maybe have stronger signals or whatever, but our signals goes all over the world if you wanted to. We have listeners in Mexico. Although I don't think I think he became not a fan of ours during realignment because he was mad of our reporting.
Yeah.
Who was that? Mark?
Yeah, I can't remember.
He was, he went south on us.
Would you like another impromptu guest? I bet I can get one.
Who?
Chill's over there.
Clarence Hill?
Yeah.
No, not really.
I love Chill.
Here's what happens when you're a Cowboys writer. Calvin Watkins just came in with with the Athletic.com or whatever.
No, he's Dallas
Morning News. And the first thing he asked me, he goes, "Have you seen Rob Ryan?" Because Rex Ryan, or is it Rob Ryan? Their names have come up with the Cowboys as a possible defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Rex has. Rex is interviewed. Mike Zimmer's interviewed. Ron Rivera's interviewed. There's a.
How many of those guys are regurgitated? They're all defensive minds.
All of them.
There's no hot defensive mind that could help Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys?
They're going to interview, or they did today, Marquand Manuel. And their defensive line coach, Arden Dirty, is
Arden Dirty. That's a great name.
He's the favorite in-house candidate.
A great stripper name.
Yeah. So, yeah.
How long were you guys at that place the other night, by the way?
What place?
The flashing lights and
did not go to.
Okay, good. Because I know that in the past I've had to pull you guys out of there at times because my debit card got ding, ding, ding.
Q doesn't work here anymore. I don't get dragged into those
Jeff
places.
Grimm is known as also the Tide guy. He really was fed up he was fed with a lot of inaccurate information. Yes, he was. Or he attached himself to Graphics Boy, right?
Oh, I guess.
And believed all that stuff. And nothing was going to happen with some of the schools in the Pac-12, and that's fine. Some other people did. He wasn't the only one. Retired stockbroker Paul was at Olympic Gardens. What is that?
I think it's a strip club. I don't know. I left those places in my past.
Dustin,
There you go.
Dustin gave up former Oklahoma State head coach Pat Jones for Sikkim 365. Thank you. And I love Pat Jones. He's a great interview. Back when I was in radio early on, when he was still at Oklahoma State, he was a really fun interview. Remind me of a Dave Campo, but different accent.
Dave Campo is a great interview.
He is a fantastic interview.
Great
I alluded to yesterday with Darren Woodson, a Dave Campo podcast interview about Miami and the transition and where he had been before, and it was freaking great. It was great. All right, let's break right here. We'll come back with super agent Jerry Maguire, Show Me the Money, Patrick Mahomes' agent Lee Steinberg will join us. We're live in Vegas. Thanks to all of our sponsors. On the phone a minute ago with Bill Denton, CEO of Allen Samuels Holdings. Allen Samuels House of Travel underwrote our entire trip, the tickets, the Airbnb, which has been phenomenal, and more. And this is 365 Sports.
Allen Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Allen Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560 or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
This is 365 Sports.
The Sikkim 365 app is brought to you by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
We have discussed a couple of different stories, both Baylor related, but also one here. The SEC revenue distribution, $718 million for the fiscal year of 22-23, averaging $51.3 million per school. And, of course, that's going to jump up with the addition of Texas, Oklahoma, and new money and whatever else. I don't know what the number is. It's like when they said that the Big Ten schools were making $100 million a year. Mm-hmm. No, they're not.
No.
And by the way, this doesn't include everything, but $51.3 million based on the revenue distribution is a nice large chunk when the Big 12's at about, 134, maybe. I think it actually is in the mid-30s. Might be around 40 when you count everything.
Yeah.
Which means the SEC is probably, and I don't know, maybe 60 or 70, 75 million.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how can
but
live.
It's not in that 100 million. That was so crap.
How can you live on that?
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, in case you guys were wondering, yes, that was former fantasy football legend T.J. Hushmanzada that walked right behind us from the Bengals.
Wide receiver, yeah. Very good player. Very, very, very good player. Okay, back to today. I wanted to give that SEC update because that's a chunk of money. Which to use the bigger story in the chat room? if you follow us and you're watching and also on Twitter, because a lot of you responded on Twitter, which today, in your opinion, was a bigger story? Mack Rhodes is on the College Football Playoff Committee, which is a big deal, or Gary Patterson is now a part of the Baylor staff with Dave Aranda? And your reactions to it.
I'm having a hard time deciding which is a bigger deal, honestly. I mean, I think there's one that's a bigger deal because it has implications that reach far beyond Baylor, and that would be him on the committee. But then, like, for Gary Patterson to be on the Baylor staff, doing anything, if they hired him, if they hired him as a strength coach, like whatever, like the dietitian, it doesn't
would be
matter.
like Satan visiting heaven.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I just call him that?
No.
That's a pretty good analogy. I mean, some Baylor fans would, but that's like you wouldn't. But like, we're never going to see that.
Right. There was a time when you could tell me like they wouldn't hire Gary Patterson to play the guitar.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do that. Like they wouldn't even. No, we're not going to do that. But look. If you are trying to get the most out of this team this year, and this is a make or break year for Dave Aranda, you have to pull out all the stops.
Everything.
You have to put all the stops.
You transfer portal, the recruiting. They added a couple of nice nuggets that might help in the portal at the end, and they've kind of done it. Nothing more than like they didn't have a landslide of this, but they have tweaked and added and changed and revised and added and tweaked, and this is the latest part of that. This came out, I think, enough where when Ashley mentioned it and it started, I was like, so it didn't I didn't wake up today and go, what the, this was at least out there as a potential story, thanks to Ashley Hodge putting it up in the forums on Sunday.
If Gary Patterson comes in and helps Baylor get to 6 wins, 7 wins, and one of those losses is still to TCU, what will the fan base say? Because that's the one. To me, if you're bringing him in, you've got to beat TCU,
I think
right?
the answer is going to be you had one job.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, okay, what if they go 3-9, beat TCU?
Then you might get a pass. Maybe.
Well, here's the thing. He might. Nobody else is.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, 3-9 again is.
Yeah, he could go, wait a minute, I don't know about those other games. I was brought in here to beat TCU.
3-9 again, and it's probably not going to be great. I mean, so.
Oh, no.
I mean,
no. And I know that. I just, it's they hated each other. He and Briles, and I think, and I'm going to say this, I think Briles thought of Patterson sometimes as just like annoying, like childish at times. Patterson, like you could tell. It was, and then of course you had the crazy of 2014 that was like pouring fuel on the fire. You had way to go, Big 12 in 2010. Well, Patterson wasn't saying that, but he knew they're pissed off because they weren't a part of the Big 12. 11, RG3 gets him by throwing one pass over after another over the head of that like defensive mind. And even then it came down to a last second with Matt Jones kicking a field goal, then the pick. So that's interesting. That's on the chat room. Gary Patterson all the way. Gary Patterson. Equal stories. Fatty bailing out Dave. Patterson still has the itch. Hire is the bigger story to me. Don't get it. Okay, and so there we are with that. We're now joined by NFL agent, and this guy has created movies and also a lot of money for his clients. Lee Steinberg joins us annually here on NFL Radio Row and NFL Media Headquarters. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. You know that Waco is a sacred city for me because I love Diet Dr. Pepper.
Is that right?
So when I was there, speaking of Baylor, I went to the Dr. Pepper Hall of Fame. And loved it.
Well, I mean, they do it. They even make it the old way there.
They have tastes that you can't find anywhere else. And anyway, so I got on stage. Speaking to the students, I said, I just went to this Dr. Pepper Hall of Fame. And an enterprising student sends a bottle of Diet Dr. Pepper, and on the front it has a picture of him and me instead of what they have on the label. And on the back it says ingredients, 100% perseverance, 100% creativity, 100%. We hired him.
No kidding.
Yeah, from Baylor.
Was that Andrew Woodward?
Yes.
Yeah. No, Woody's the man. We
Is
just
that
talked
right?
to him earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew, that's right. He was just around the corner. That's awesome.
He was my
good for
assistant
you.
for a couple
Good,
years.
well, good for him to think that. That's when you're like, this guy's different. This kid's different, huh?
He got it. He thought outside the square. He knew a way to distinguish himself from the thousands of other people applying.
Wow. Did you ever have a client that like RG3 was the biggest name that came out of Baylor, Singletary, obviously, but did you ever?
Gary Baxter.
Okay, I know that. I should have known that. Gary went to John Tyler High School. I've covered Tyler for 30 years. A great friend of mine. A hell of a player coming out of college, too.
And has had a second career as spectacular as his career in investments and has become an entrepreneurial businessman.
Yeah, a great player, great personality, too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Very good personality. So Patrick Mahomes having a pretty good run, my man.
Yeah, this was a tougher season. So it just shows you that quality of resilience where things weren't going so well mid-season, but now they're playing their best football.
Do you feel like he's been almost like, and this is maybe a chameleon in so many different ways? He's played the game at quarterback this year differently because of what they needed at certain times, not just Patrick Mahomes throwing for 400 yards and 3-4 touchdowns a game?
So I think he had to adjust to what they have, and to his credit, you never heard him turn on the wide receivers who were dropping passes and the rest of it, but he's evolving. I mean, but he has played 6 years, and I mean the remarkable thing is he's only 28. So imagine that Tom Brady played till he was 45. That's 17 more years.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's crazy. We were talking about it the other day when they won on the show about, this is a guy who was the 10th pick in the draft. Now, that's not low, but given what he's done, there are 9 teams that, are kicking themselves for going, oh, he's a system quarterback or whatever.
No, remember that he was at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And Texas Tech's defense was so weak that they were scoring 50 points a game. On every single drive, he had to score or they had no chance of winning. So he threw passes and did things he wouldn't do in a pro set.
Yeah, we were at some of those games against Baylor, and the Oklahoma game was famous with Baker Mayfield.
But is that the thing? I mean, because you have to, from the minute you sign him, you're advocating for your client, and you want them to be drafted as high as they can. You want them to make as much money as they can and be in the best situation. Like sometimes that's another thing too, is
that's the most important factor. In other words, I'm not as I've had the first pick overall in the NFL draft 8 years, but I'm not as concerned that they be the first if they're a quarterback, but that they go to a quality organization that's got a great owner, great front office, great coaching, stability, supporting cast, and they have a plan to bring along the quarterback.
Lee, when Aikman was drafted, and of course that Landry left, was there any anxious moments that Landry was not going to be the coach of the Cowboys when he was drafted, when Jerry and Jimmy took over?
Well, the change had already occurred.
Right. No, I knew that, but was there a little bit of uncertainty about who was taking over, or that was always no matter what?
I don't think that Troy and Jimmy Johnson especially bonded at the beginning, because if you remember in 1989, the Cowboys had the first pick in the draft, and that was Troy. But they also had the first pick in a supplemental draft.
Steve Walsh.
And they used it. So imagine you've told Troy Aikman, this is your team, we're going to build around you and everything like that, except that, the coaches bring his quarterback,
right,
who just won the national championship the same year, and the team was weak enough it was going to be a challenge, but oh my God, to have a quarterback controversy?
Absolutely, and they had the kind of bond later on, like at Jimmy's house, or maybe Troy's house with the tropical fish, the big fish tank, drinking Coronas or whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah,
brought them together. And they got very close, but talk about a challenging situation. You know, the team was 1 and 16, and they said that if Jerry Jones bought the 7-Eleven, they'd have to change the name to the 0-11.
0-11. Yeah, they were terrible.
Lee, we had Sean Stellato on the show the other day, and he said that you sent him a very nice note when he, rose to prominence, and that you were the only person, fellow agent that reached out to him. Do you, and that's the kind of person you are, like in the industry, reach out and talk to people and encourage them? I mean, that was just a really cool story to hear.
Well, we do agent academies to bring along the next generation, and you can find them going to our .com. And we train the next generation. It's in my interest to get ethical, principled agents who really care about clients, who know what they're doing, into the business. And he found a way to, the same way Andrew Woodward distinguished himself, he found a way to become like a sensation because he was dressed in mafia-type clothes, and they were doing the Italian, rubbing the fingers together and all that. And I just think that my role is to not look at those people as competitors, but to see them as people that could make a big difference in pro football.
How did the discussion about the movie Show Me the Money, what was the heads up you had gotten there? How did all of that kind of become what it became as an incredibly popular movie?
So in 1993, writer Cameron Crowe called me up and said, I want to follow you around to pick up atmosphere for a film that would revolve around a sports agent. And so he went to the NFL draft in 1993 with me, and Drew Bledsoe was the first pick. And then he came up to the press conference with Bill Parcells, and he came to the league meetings in Palm Desert. And he came to a series of games with me, spent time in my office, went to my Super Bowl party, and I told him stories, lots and lots of stories. And so then he went off and wrote the script. And my job was to make sure that the willing suspension of disbelief that takes you into a film, you don't think it's phony, the look's phony, the dialogue's phony. And then I had to train the actors, some of them put them in role. I took Cuba Gooding Jr. down with me to the Super Bowl in Arizona, and I made him pretend he was a wide receiver all week.
That's pretty cool. It turned out to be just a great movie.
It is, and Cameron Crowe is one of the most skilled writers and directors there is. Almost Famous is another one that's just so and that's about his life, but very poignant and good. But when you're watching the movie and then you see some of the things you told him, molded and created in that, that has to be a heartwarming feeling of seeing that, because the movie is very heartwarming, and the movie is a journey of a guy that goes up and down.
It's funny, no one's, in all the 26 years that the movie's out, nobody particularly asked me what it's like seeing it. And it was shocking. It was just too close, and I almost couldn't make it through the deal. Because he did, a very good job. And I think it humanized sports agents in people's minds to not just think it's about the money, that it's about the heart and about the relationship.
Well, you do have an ethical responsibility to your client to prepare them for everything, right? I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You're
Second career. Well, that's why we do. We ask that each one of them goes back to the high school community, sets up a scholarship fund, or a church, Boys and Girls Club, then goes to the college, does the same thing, and then does a charitable foundation at that level. So you're rooting them into each of these communities, and you're challenging them for what second career could be.
When you look at how Patrick has represented his family, Patrick, the Chiefs, everything he's done, he's still very young, so things happen in life. But has he been nearly flawless as a client?
Yes. that's just him. It was the way
Oh,
he's
I know.
raised.
Yeah.
It's he is so grounded and so steady that this is all swirling around him. But you know, he's about that football game on Sunday.
You had this empire and then lost a lot of it, and then came back and regained it. And we've talked about that story, what you went through personally. But you also had some others that you had under your wing who all of a sudden forgot about the team, did they not? And became a little bit rebellious. How much did that hurt you as far as others who were agents that work for you?
See, I always understood that everyone is entitled to what they look for in that profession, which is a sense of recognition, some autonomy, and maybe some equity. And I did my best to make sure that I had treated that next generation well. And I never was jealous of their success. I saw it more like a coaching tree.
Right.
Yeah. So was I disappointed over time in some of the ways that people acted? Yes. But am I spending time worrying about it?
No. Do you, Lee Steinberg, super agent with us on 365 Sports. I know you got to go, but do you still have the energy you had 5 or 10 years ago? Is it even higher now because it's still competitive? You have Patrick Mahomes, but that's not the only person. I mean, you still get down and get your hands dirty and in the play?
In the recruiting, not quite as much. I might play a role in the first meeting and in the last meeting, but it's a younger generation. Look, I still do 15,000 Fitbit steps a day, work out with a personal trainer 3 times a week, and I've explored health and wellness so that I'm doing hyperbaric oxygen, and I've done stem cells and a whole series of healing modalities like that.
Well, one of the things you're involved with is the treatment, the health of the athletes. Is that kind of helped you understand that even more so to make sure that you're taking care of the athletes and making sure they're healthy?
So concussion is a big issue. I've done 30 concussion conferences, and I think it's part of my duty to care about the health, longevity, wellness of players. They're in denial, so I have to push the issue many times.
Jimmy Sexton has every college coach, it seems like. And when Nick Saban retired, he was able to just corner the market on that. When you watch things like that from the outside, what are your thoughts on, I mean, obviously he's very, very good at what he does, but he almost has a monopoly on that particular corner of the industry.
Well, good for him. I mean, if the clients are happy, then
they should be.
Then I never had an issue with other agents or other people did what I do. I always thought it should be like, a doctor could tell another doctor that they did a great operation or you read a book, it's got blurbs on the back of it from other authors. I thought that's more gracious, and since we have the same problems, wouldn't it be nicer if we were surrounded by people that were colleagues?
What are your thoughts, and thank you for your time as always, Lee. What are your thoughts about NIL in college athletics?
Well, I think it had unintended consequences. For my business, talking to someone who's 16 or 17, who's already looking for a marketing agent in high school makes it rougher, because I'm used to talking to players much older and families. And then I think that nobody anticipated it would have the effect on recruiting that it's had, but you have these collectives of business people that are putting millions of dollars into a collective and then using it to say, if you come to Alabama instead of going to blank, 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 or in the transfer portal. So that's changed everything. I mean, you can make a significant amount of money.
Has it changed perhaps some players who have said, no, I'll just stay here in college because I'm making pretty good money?
You would think that would be what would happen, but
not much.
But the leading player, I think, in terms of deals had to be Caleb Williams, and he came out in the draft.
Lee, it's always great to see you. Thank you very much.
My
also,
pleasure.
thanks for the support of the Campbell Award as much as you did, the one that goes on in Tyler with the great Earl Campbell.
I love it. I love Tyler, and I love Earl.
Thank you very much. Lee Steinberg in Las Vegas, NFL Super Bowl 58 on 365 Sports. Samantha Duvall, TexasBeefHouse.com. The auctions keep on being, from what I can tell, a great success, Samantha.
Yes, and they are so much fun. We have people that come out that have never been to any type of auction, and they have so much fun. You can hear and feel the energy in the room, especially when people are high-fiving each other when they've won a lot, or you can tell when people are just bummed when they didn't get that one and they're waiting for the next one, but the energy is just so awesome.
Your father said it's been so successful, you're looking at doing even more and more into the future. Is that correct?
That is correct. We don't have a date yet, but we're looking at maybe possibly sometime in April doing another one. And this one will again be a live auction along with being able to bid online for people that are not local.
Farm-raised, aged Wagyu beef. And now people can get it as they want it. The fact that they can control how much they buy and also how much they pay. How really cool is that?
What we like to call it is price discovery. So we don't want to put a price on our product. We want you to decide what you want to pay for our product. So you get to bid what you want to pay.
Samantha, this company has really gone off. You guys are like setting the standard. What are other people in your profession saying about what you're doing?
After this last auction, we had people reach out to us from Arkansas, from Oklahoma, just so excited for what we're doing because it gives them the opportunity to maybe do this possibly in the future too. So we've had a lot of positive feedback from other ranchers.
Super Bowl coming up February the 11th. Chiefs against the 49ers.
You can still order online before then, and this coming week we'll ship Monday through Wednesday. We've got flank steak, flap steak, we've got hamburgers that you can order and get shipped to you. And you know that we're a really big Chiefs fan because Patrick Mahomes is from our hometown.
Right there in your backyard. That's Samantha Duvall, the great company that continues to set the standard in the beef business at TexasBeefHouse.com.
Shop big savings during the Ram Truck Month at Allen Samuels in Waco. Ram 1500 is the most luxurious and technologically advanced Ram 1500 ever. There's a great selection on the lot and ready for immediate delivery. Ram Truck Month sales event is a winner at Allen Samuels in Waco.
Thank you for calling your local Marco's Pizza. We're turning up the heat with our new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Fresh, house-made dough is topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. At only $5.99, this limited-time product is a hot deal. Add it to your order while you can. A Marco's team member will be with you shortly.
Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it, and that offer on the Reaper Cheesy Bread is available right now at any of the 5 Marco's Pizza locations in Waco, including Belmead, China Spring, Robinson, Woodway, and Hewitt. Order online at marcos.com. Call for a pickup or delivery. Marco's Pizza is turning up the heat with their all-new Reaper Cheesy Bread with fresh, hot, house-made dough topped with a spicy cheese blend infused with jalapeno, habanero, and Carolina Reaper peppers. And only $5.99 and for a limited time only. Marco's Pizza, the fastest-growing pizza brand in America. 5 locations in Waco. And the new Reaper Cheesy Bread. Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Enjoying the show? Hit the like button and subscribe.
Welcome back. Smokey is going over to get a video message for Craig from Chuck Liddell.
Pretty dope. I like
that's
that.
pretty dope. It's cool. Chuck is I'll tell you, he's a very nice guy. Like, again, a lot of these fighters are weird. Like, we had, Craig did a great interview with Conor McGregor.
Oh, I've heard about this one.
It was legendary.
Yes.
But Conor McGregor is, a little bit like high-strung, intense. But yeah, Craig's done great interviews. That's we couldn't, honestly, we could have him over here and we'd do an okay job.
What?
But look, Chuck Liddell, we do an okay job.
That would not be fair because we are absolutely second string to any of that. Craig would eat it alive. Earlier I saw, God dang it, he was one of the big names in that same sport, Randy Couture. Huge.
I didn't see him.
Yeah, he was down doing his own show, his own podcast, down on the other end of this, where we are here at Radio Row.
I know somebody that Craig would have loved. I saw The Rock earlier and immediately thought of Craig.
See, it's weird. I understand what he is. I know, Miami. I get all that. But that's just not – he's a monster. And is he trying to make a comeback with business or something? I know
his business is fine. He's trying to – he had to reboot because he finally had a stretch.
Did he overmodulate where he got too much of him?
Yes. He had some
like Taylor Swift?
Unsuccessful movies.
Can't believe you said that, Garrett.
No. Golly, you're going to get the Swifties on us.
Oh, my God.
No. And look, as a card-carrying Swiftie, I'll have to tell them at the meeting.
Why?
I just love the way she handles her business. I do. I have nothing but respect for her.
Does she even have a very good voice?
Yeah. Golly. I once went on a
David Smoak.
Hey,
coming for you, Smoak.
I once went on a podcast and said that Beyonce is not a very good actress. She's a wonderful singer. She's a very mediocre actress. She's very wooden. She's not good. And the podcast hosts were like, I don't know what you're doing to us. Why are you doing this to us? You're going to get us killed. There's going to be so many people, the Beehive's going to come and get them. But nothing happened.
See, Beyonce has kind of gone into the background. She'll have this
She's
or that.
had this massive tour. But, yeah, she's not as at the forefront as Taylor Swift is now just because, this is
Taylor Swift's world and we're living in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, but and I'm going to say this.
I want to defend her on something, though. One thing.
Yeah. I'm going to put this out in the universe until it happens. Craig should do a wrestling podcast.
100%.
He would be the best, and every wrestler or UFC fighter that we have ever had on this show leaves the set going, thank you for those good questions.
Yep.
Thank you for understanding, because Craig doesn't ask him like, hey, can you pick the belt up over me? And,
and
can you give me the people's elbow? He doesn't do that.
All right, somebody just brought up something that knocks Beyonce well off of this discussion, and Taylor Swift, and that's Shakira.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Big Shakira fan over here.
When she did the halftime with, what's her name?
J-Lo.
Yeah,
J-Lo.
J-Lo.
You even forgot J-Lo.
Yeah,
That's how
everybody should have forgot J-Lo.
And J-Lo's beautiful and all that, and holy my God.
Yeah.
I was in a spin class, and there's 22 of us in there, and we were asked, who are you? Who's J-Lo? And of course the girls all raised their hand. And when she said Shakira, bam, 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 14-6 or something like that was Shakira.
No.
All right, what about Janet Jackson's boobie over Shakira? No.
I'm taking Shakira all day.
Shakira.
I thought Janet Jackson's a beautiful woman too.
Here's the thing. I'm glad I haven't met Shakira, because in my single days she could have convinced me to commit a crime, like that kind of thing. I'd rob the bank. You need to be in this bank robbery. All right, Shakira,
all right, okay.
whatever you say,
whatever you want me to do.
People I'd be up on the stand and they'd be like, "Why'd you do it?" I'm like,
I'm going to defend.
Shakira asked.
Yeah, what? So with Taylor Swift, I saw and I've seen the last few months, because of the thing with Kelsey and the Chiefs and all that, overkill, and people mad at Taylor Swift because there's always these shots of her. She's not controlling the cameras. In fact, wasn't there a cutaway where she was like, would you please leave me alone? It's like the Tiger Woods thing. Tiger was not playing well, but if he was on the course and hitting shots, even if he was not hitting them well, they wanted Tiger on the camera because he would move the needle. And I used to sit there and tell people, why are you mad at Tiger? You think if he's playing poorly that he wants to be on camera? He's not the one that controlled the decision to put you on camera or not. No. Neither does Taylor Swift.
And also, in the capitalist-free society that we live in, there are people who are driven by the fact that eyeballs mean money. And if you've got a whole section of people who didn't like your product, but because they're going to see 30 total seconds over 3 hours of their favorite singer, and that's all it is. Over a 3-hour game, it's about 30 total seconds of here she is, not 30 seconds at a time, 4 seconds at a time.
It's like the
times.
Jerry Jones stuff. But God Almighty, it was so good to see him when they were getting their ass kicked by Green Bay.
But if those 30 seconds, there's 7 to 10 cutaways of Taylor Swift are going to get you even more viewers and more people tuning in to watch your product, you would be stupid not to.
No, it's marketing. It's marketing. And the same thing with CBS or whoever it was when Tiger's on the course, and he may not even be in the top 20, and they're going to show him with a pitch shot that might come up short, but it's a Tiger shot.
I'll tell you right now, if she was here today doing interviews in Radio Row and cutting through, believe me, I would have the cameras point.
Talk about an entourage.
Yeah, we just point at Taylor Swift in the background just so we could get more views.
Yeah, it would be a tidal wave of bodies. So Christy asked that in class. 22 people. Not one girl said Shakira.
I mean, yeah.
She's beautiful. She's a great dancer. She's got a great voice. But why? I think that's.
It's because.
Is that because they all know how hot Shakira is?
Yes, and they also know that.
But so is J-Lo.
Yes, they feel though that J-Lo is in a class all her own, and she's like this. So they don't even look at her that way. They look at Shakira, and they look at the way Shakira moves, and they're like, no, I can't have that. I can't, It's like how dudes probably look at Justin Timberlake. Like, if they're, like, and I love Justin Timberlake, but.
I don't know if there's a guy that I look at that see that I'm like, I don't know if that's the case or not. No. I'm not sure if that's the case. We need to break here probably, right? Come back.
Yeah.
We have a guest coming up, DJ Dozier, former Penn State running back, and more. Chef Roy Choi from here in Vegas, too. This is 365 Sports.
Alan Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Alan Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560 or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Here's Purdy with a lot of time. Steps into one. Launching deep. Going for Brandon Ayuk. It is. Oh, he caught it off the ricochet. Penalty. Is he in?
Live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. This is 365 Sports. Powered by Sikkim365.com.
Here's Kansas City from the 19. Throwing at the goal line. And it's caught by Kelce for the touchdown.
Our coverage of Super Bowl 58 is brought to you by Alan Samuels House of Travel, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, TexasPhoenix.com, IdealMRI.com, Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine, Marco's Pizza, Rogue Media, Camille Johnson Realtors, The Tyler Candle Company, United Nissan.
Third down, four-man rush. Purdy in some trouble. Escapes, looking for the first down. He's got it and more. Brock Purdy with the legs inside the 30.
365 Sports is turbocharged by Unite Private Networks. Find out more at uniteprivatenetworks.com.
2nd and 10 to the end zone again, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Deion Bush, who just came in 2 plays ago for Mike Edwards.
Now here's David Smoak and Paul Catalina.
All right, we're back for the final hour, at least today. 365 Sports at NFL Media Headquarters at Radio Row in Las Vegas. DJ Dozier, Dr. Michael Weatherly, here at Radio Row. We appreciate both of you for being here. DJ, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doctor, doing well?
Doing well, yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, so one of the things about what you're talking about, collegiate athlete and serial entrepreneur, being successful after a career?
Yes, sir. That's what. So we actually have a show called Decide to Dominate based off DJ's book. We're on Caffeine TV, No Filter Network. It's all about exactly what you just said.
So when did you know that was important?
Well, what's interesting is my family has that entrepreneurial spirit. And so ever since I was a kid, I didn't know what it was, but I loved being creative, and eventually I realized that, you could be in business with a product or service. So by the time I got to college, what most people don't know is before we played in our first national championship, my junior year, I actually came up with a T-shirt to sell to all of my players.
Okay.
Or teammates. And didn't make any money, but I tried.
But it was the thought that counts, right?
Absolutely. You got to start somewhere.
I saw a couple of kids on a golf course the other day, and I can't remember. Now I'll ask you, when was the last time you saw a couple of kids out in front of their house or on the golf course with a house selling lemonade?
So I'm going to take that one and say my kids do that on a weekly basis. I got 2 little hustlers.
That's all. No, that's exactly. Hustlers. I was like blown away by that. I was excited to see that. They gave $5 for a couple of glasses of lemonade.
Yeah, I have a 14 and a 12-year-old, and they both have their own businesses. So
what's the price point?
Lemonade's expensive these days, guys. I don't know. I'm gonna say I think they charge like $1.50, $2. But here's the thing. Nowadays, it's a different world. Cars show up, they're like, I don't have cash. They're like, that's okay, we take Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, here, just scan this, And then they're like, oh, you're cute, here's $20. I'm like, they'll come out like $100 sometimes.
PayPal.
Oh, wow. Yeah, PayPal, whatever. Well, I'm not trying to give Chick-fil-A a spot, but my kids actually said, look, Chick-fil-A at all. Dad, we want to do a stand, but we want to work through Chick-fil-A. I said, well, I don't know if you can do that. So I made a phone call. They said, yeah, we'll sell it to them.
Really?
Yeah. So, double that price, and then that's why it's so expensive.
My good. You were a part of a national championship, Heisman Trophy candidate, and obviously had a tremendous career at Penn State and your time in the NFL with Minnesota and Detroit. What was that like back then at Penn State? It changed. College football's changed so dramatically.
Yeah, no, big change, but old school. I watched Joe Paterno throw a senior captain of our football team off the plane because he was late. And I don't know if that would happen today, but it certainly happened in that moment. And
because the players now have so much more power.
A lot of leverage.
Not that you can't still do that.
Yeah, that dude be in the transfer portal like a week later, probably.
Oh, my God. By the time he hit the tarmac, yeah. Wow. And Penn State has won an X amount of national titles, and yet probably had like 3 or 4 or 5 others they should have won based on the polls and stuff like that over the years. And he's a Florida State fan, mad about this past year, but Penn State had undefeated teams that didn't win the national title.
Was it because of your independent status at the time that they kind of looked you over?
Well, I think maybe it was the black shoes. I don't know. There's no doubt that back then that Penn State was an underdog, even when they were undefeated.
Right.
And that's, it wasn't because Paterno, as we used to call it, won ugly, right? It was all defense. The offense sputtered, or he would put all the most athletic athletes on the defense to make sure that his team could keep the other team from scoring or at least scoring high.
It was the black shoes too, right?
It was. I think it was the black shoes. They thought I was slow coming out.
I don't think they thought that.
Well, no. What is your background being an entrepreneur?
So I got a crazy background. I was started as a second, third grade teacher. I mean, I played baseball in high school and football, and then I played baseball in college. But I was an entrepreneur from the second I got out of college. I had a bar and restaurant. I was in healthcare. I was a teacher, and then we started this company that was an integrator between the Defense Department, the government, and companies that have innovative technologies and product services. I always say, like, the reason that business grew is because we donate, we tithe, so we give 10% of our revenue back to the community. And then during COVID, my wife and I packed up the kids, moved to the mountains, and then just started all these businesses. We got into the wine business, we started the sports business, we've got a nonprofit that works with veterans to grow food organically, give back to those in need. And I don't know, like I said, there's a lot of hustle and hard work at the end of the day, but got a crazy background.
So when it comes to athletes, college athletes especially, knowing what the next thing is, because they can't all be like DJ and go to the NFL.
Yep.
And even the NFL needs to know this too, but you need to know it really before you go. And I don't think that really happens all that much because, they're not taught, now they may be because of NIL, but balancing a checkbook or having a budget or what to do, like when the team doesn't do everything for you, like all those things are not really a deal. So how do you reach out and bridge that gap with them?
Yeah, so that's great. That's something we talk about on our show every Tuesday because it's not just about like sports. We talk about we always say athletes in the office. So the premise of DJ's book is like, what comes next? What happens after sports? And so we're doing our best to educate. We're working with a lot of youth, so we get asked to come talk a lot. Some of the like FCA organizations and Boys Club. We just had a meeting with them last week. Just trying to. Hey, I was going to play Major League Baseball too, and then I blew my knee out. You always got to have a backup plan, right? And so I think that's just important to stress. I always say, the college players are 1% from high school kids, and then to get into minor leagues, you're 1% of that. To get into major leagues, you're 1% of that. So do that math. That's not a very good percentage. You got to have a backup plan.
DJ, there are very few that could play baseball and football. Deion, Bo Jackson, we've named some of them. Some players have gone on to play baseball, then did not work out. It's hard. And then they ended up playing college football at an older age. You made the decision to play college football over baseball. Do you regret that at all?
I don't regret it because the plan was I was going to go to Penn State to play both. The only thing Paterno asked is that I not play in my first year. So I would spend a full year playing football. And then after my sophomore year of football, then I could play baseball. Well, what happened was I ended up having to get my left knee scoped. And so I wanted to focus on rehabbing. It wasn't a bad injury or bad surgery, but so as a result, I spent the next year, and then after my junior year of football, I decided I'd get ready for my senior year of football because the NFL was right there. So the plan was to play both. It didn't work out that way, but obviously the dream came true when I had a chance to go back, even though it was far-fetched an idea, and my agent thought I was nuts. Even my dad said, "Hey, are you sure?" Because at that point, it had been 6 years since I had swung and hit a baseball. And for me, every day after that I participated in baseball was an absolute gift. And that's the way I look at it.
I think you even enjoyed it even more because...
without a doubt. It was... I remember before the first game, I walked onto the field before anyone else was there, and I couldn't believe it. And so from that day until my last, really, I enjoyed every minute of it.
That was with the Mets, right?
That was with the Mets.
And then ended up with the Mets that you're there a little bit. You weren't there, but you got a chance to taste it.
Yes, I did. And what's interesting is one of our hitting instructors with the Mets, he would teach us and tell us, look, in the big leagues, you can't hit a curveball. Now, most of us that grew up, we hit everything. Hit a curveball, slider, may not a changeup, but so I didn't understand what he meant until my first at bat against Cincinnati. I get in the box, second pitch,
curve.
Yeah, it dropped out of the sky, and the umpire said strike. That was what was shocking. I said, wait a second. How can that be a strike? Didn't it come from up there? Yep. But, I experienced it. It was a great experience. Wouldn't change a thing other than playing a little longer. but had a lot of fun.
All right, so 2 sport athletes, Bo, Dion, Brian Jordan,
Yeah.
DJ Dozier.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty awesome thing.
One of only 27 ever to play both professionally. I mean, that's, again, 1% of the 1%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and I've played against or met each one of those guys.
Yeah.
And we had some great conversations, and I mean, to be in that group is it's bragging rights to a certain degree.
Oh, for sure.
We've had guests on, including Nate Boyer, who's a Green Beret, and Jake Glazer, and my last question is trying to transition athletes from what they did as a career
MVP.
into what is real life for the next several years. Yeah.
Yeah, MVP, we know those guys. They're awesome.
I saw what you have with Vet First.
Yep.
And how important is that? Because that is I don't care who you are, it's a tough transition to go from protocol, regimen as an athlete or military into real life.
Without a doubt. So for me, everyone's going to have a different experience. But for me, it was learned because I'm highly competitive. So I learned how I could get better grades. And as soon as I saw it as a competitive atmosphere, everything changed for me.
Wow.
And I think it's the same in business.
Thank you, man. Good luck.
Yeah, no,
appreciate
awesome.
it. Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us on.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very much. This is 365 Sports, back from Vegas in just a moment.
Developed by Startup Waco, a nonprofit organization, GXG is a program designed to support the entrepreneurial development of Baylor University student athletes through NIL activations. The program helps student athletes maximize their platforms and offers a comprehensive support system for them to create and grow new businesses that not only benefit themselves, but also uplift the local economy. Fans who wish to support student athletes can donate to GXG via the GXG NIL Fund, BaylorBears.com/GXG. Contributions to support NIL activations through GXG can be made at BaylorBears.com/GXG. For more information, follow @GXG_GreenXGold on social media and visit the official website www.gxg.startupwaco.com. GXG, empowering student athlete entrepreneurship and uplifting the local economy through NIL activations.
Petty Clinic Men's Healthcare in Woodway is now proud to offer you men an exceptional weight management body sculpting product called semaglutide, also known as Ozempic or Wegovy. Semaglutide is an FDA-approved weight management medication. Once-a-week injections of this powerful medication offers an average body fat weight loss of 20% within the first year of treatment. In addition to body sculpting, semaglutide also normalizes blood sugars and has the clinical research proof of reducing blood pressure, cholesterol, stroke, and heart attack risk. If you're like most men and you have stubborn fat that will just not respond to typical diets and exercise, then help is finally here. Semaglutide, affordable, highly effective. Google search Petty Clinic Waco and reach out to the Petty Clinic team today for a free consultation with Dr. Petty to see if semaglutide is right for you. Go to pettycliniclowt.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine now has 2 locations to serve you. The original on Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street and the brand new spot in downtown Waco at 600 Franklin Avenue. If you're looking for the best in craft beers or local Texas bourbons, then the original is the place to be. And for the latest trends and online phenomenons, head downtown to the Franklin location. Either way, you're going to get the same great variety, customer service, and speedy experience. Check out both locations on their Facebook and Instagram pages. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street, and now downtown on Franklin Avenue.
Back in Vegas at NFL Media Headquarters Radio Row, 365 Sports, and Chef Roy Choi with us.
That's me.
Man, you got to understand this, okay?
Uh-huh.
I've never been to any kind of like a cooking school or class or anything like that. I love to cook. Paul loves to cook.
Fantastic.
And I watch cooking shows all the time. And I know you have your series on Netflix and what you do with the food trucks and all that. I'm jealous as hell.
That's like me watching sports. I fall asleep to sports after cooking all day.
But it's true. So when did that get in your blood? Was that something based on where how you were brought up, or when did that hit your bloodstream?
Yeah, it was pretty much from birth. You know, I come from a food family. We immigrated to this country, so as immigrants, it was, it takes some time figuring out America. And so what happens is you end up spending a lot of time at home. Aunties, uncles, extended family. It's like a potluck every day. And then the food that I grew up around is not like really packaged food. So it's food that takes a while, pickling, fermenting. So there's always food like all around the house. And then my parents ran a restaurant during my formative years, all throughout elementary school. And so I grew up doing homework on kitchen tables. And then I worked in restaurants my whole high school, but it was too close to me. I didn't think it could be a career. I think it's like being a coach's son or something like that. You don't think that is your career because you're like, you don't want to do what your parents do. And so I didn't think I would be a chef. I thought I was going to be something. I thought I was going to be you guys or something. I didn't know what I was going to be, but I didn't think I was going to be in the kitchen. It was just all I knew. And then, so sometimes when it's all you run the other way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the story of you and John and how you had the food truck that was very popular before that, and then you became the advisor on Chef. And that is a movie I have recommended it to. I recommended it to Smokey, and he's not a movie guy.
Yep.
And it's just such a perfect film, like in so many regards.
It's earnest and honest.
Yes. And when you were advising him on the food and all of those things, how did you see that, like the genesis of that story coming, and how much of your life was seen in that and what he was doing?
Well, originally it was just a job, so I didn't know John before, but our agents hooked us up, and it was just supposed to be like a 3-week job. Imagine if he was playing a quarterback or something, And so Mahomes came in and was going to train him for 3 weeks. Here's how your arm goes. This is what we say in the huddle, things like that. I was just supposed to be his trainer on that. But from day one, we just struck it off with each other. We ended up becoming best friends. And so that relationship just kept growing and growing to where there was no title to it anymore. We just ended up being kind of like brothers, and so he brought me in all the way into his world, and I brought him all the way into my world, and I ended up being just a co-producer, from being just like a 3-week trainer to co-producing the movie. So it was the best thing that ever happened in my life. Jon Favreau's the man,
Sorry about that. Did you learn how to get better by maybe failing on some dishes, or did you always just have the knack where they were going to be really good?
There are so many failures in food, because what happens in food, it happens in music a lot too.
Sure.
Like with B-sides and stuff, like all the stuff that we really love, the people don't love. You know what I'm saying?
The customer, yeah.
The customer, no, they want what's familiar.
Yeah.
What's easy, what's like delicious. But we like to do all the complicated stuff. But there's so many failures. The biggest failure is when a restaurant has to close. That hurts the most, because you spend your whole life building this thing, and it takes like 30-40 people to run a restaurant. You have waiters, all the people in the kitchen, the front of the house, everything. And it hurts. You can never let it go when you lose a restaurant. And even the greatest chefs have to close restaurants.
Sure. Absolutely.
And that's the biggest failure for sure.
Yeah. Roy, you mentioned the failures. It was funny. I remember watching you guys on the show trying to make beignets.
Yeah, that was a failure.
Yeah, and you guys couldn't, it's good. I remember watching a documentary about stand-up comedy and Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry, went up and bombed, and it was there. And then watching you guys, seemingly, try to make beignets, and then you looked at the box and realized it was expired.
Yeah.
That was, as someone who likes to cook and is trying to learn it, it actually, okay, good. I
think you have to laugh about things sometimes. You have to. There are moments where things are serious, obviously if someone drops a pass in this game and they lose the game, that's some serious shit. You can't just laugh about it, But there's some things where you just laugh. If you can laugh it off, then you can recalibrate and learn from that, and just say, you know what, look at the box next time before you make it, things like that. So small little things, they can make a big difference.
When you look at the ingredients, because when I cook something, I still have the recipe in front of me, but I cook it again and again, and I learn. How is that just naturally part of your brain because if you've done it so much over and over again?
Yeah, it's interesting to hear from you guys because as professional cooks, for us, we don't really follow recipes.
Yeah.
You know, and especially when I have to kind of write recipes for magazines and things like that, or explain it to someone, like they want to, or even friends say, hey, can you give me the recipe of this? It's like, I'll send them a recipe of like, take a handful of that, stir it till it feels right, you know, and then take a smell. And if it doesn't smell burnt, then add this.
Yep.
And they're like, this is not a recipe. But for us, we don't follow linear direction. What we do is we absorb the whole situation and the knowledge and the ingredients, and then we go in the booth and freestyle. And we kind of just cook by feeling. But the way to get there is you need practice. You have to get the muscle memory. And it's very similar to sports. You have to build that muscle memory. You have to do all the work in the gym, you know, building the muscle memory, doing the reps, you know, layup reps and free throw reps and everything. And you have to have that muscle memory so that when you get in to cook, you're cooking without thinking. You're cooking without
instincts.
Instincts,
Yeah.
all instincts, yeah.
I remember watching you and David Chang make kimchi together.
Yeah, on
and
the
that
chef show.
Yeah, on the chef
Yeah.
show. It was really interesting because, like, in my life, you know, like I just thought there was kimchi. And then,
Yeah.
like, to watch you guys go, okay, well, this is how my grandmother made it. This is how we're going to do it. And then here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw some other things in it.
Yeah.
And this is what makes it Roy's or makes it David's kimchi that's so different. And I'd never even, like, thought of it that way, that it's like, when you look at food, you look at something, okay, I can put A and B together. But you kind of have in mind, would you go, I can put A and Z together and skip all this other stuff?
Oh, you could go A, Z, Z to A.
Yeah.
And the kimchi is a great example. Kimchi is like Google. It's a noun,
yeah,
but it's also a verb. You can do anything with it. So you can kimchi, even though kimchi is what it is, you can kimchi anything. So I can kimchi strawberries, I can kimchi chocolate, I can kimchi soup, I can do anything. So it turns into a verb, and doing that, it allows you to think about food differently, you know, because then what happens is you switch your whole mentality. Then you're not, again, following a linear path. You're like, okay, these two things can go together, and what if I throw that in there? It's not the end of the world. It might even be better, you know.
When do you carve time out of every week? Because you're busy. You got restaurants in different cities all over the place. You've got, you know, shows that you do and events I'm sure you've got to go to and jobs you get. Do you have to carve?
I'm not that busy.
No.
I wish I was that busy, but
Okay.
that sounds great. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you have to carve time? You know, comedians have to write every week. You know, songwriters have to play every week. You know, all those things. Do you have to make sure that you carve time to, like, be creative and do something new every week?
Well, luckily, I'm still at the stage where I don't have to force myself in my calendar to do that.
Okay.
It's something I still do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there may come a time where I'm out of it so far that I have to consciously make that decision. But I'm still in the kitchen. I'm still in the trucks. I'm still thinking about food all the time. So just being in there, it's like being in your own lab. You're just naturally thinking of new dishes and playing around and looking at things and saying, let's add a little more vinegar to that and stuff like that. So luckily, I'm still in the kitchen all the time. So it comes naturally.
Why did the food truck business become so popular?
Social media. I think that was the key to everything. So when Kogi started with Twitter in 2008, we were in a weird place as a country. The real estate crisis had just happened. The economy crashed. We were moving off of MySpace and stationary communication models like chat rooms and things like that into mobile space. The iPhone just came out. Twitter just started. So we were transitioning from this place of fluidity, really, right? Like, we didn't have this type of life before. And so in the middle of all of that, people still needed time to figure out, how do I use Twitter? How do I incorporate this device into my life? And this funny little truck, it's like a Cheech and Chong truck, you know, came through serving these like crazy tasting tacos, and people could connect the dots. Oh, I use Twitter on my phone to follow this truck, and there's a pot at the end of the rainbow, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And so it's really, because food trucks and street food existed before us.
Right.
And it'll exist after us. But what happened in the middle is the social media, it took down all of the barriers around it. Because ignorance is a funny thing, right? Because people were calling food trucks roach coaches at that time in 2008. A lot of people who didn't grow up around food trucks would say that it's dirty or gives you diarrhea. It's a roach coach. That same food truck is now called gourmet. It's gourmet. It's like, change the industry, all these things. So it's funny how our perception can change once our ignorance is taken away and we're allowed to experience something.
The food truck, too, is one of the last bastions of small business.
It is. It's the American dream.
It
for
is,
sure.
because it's hard to, do your own thing, to go out on your own like that, or especially like you could wind up working in a chain restaurant and learning all these things, but like if you don't make enough money to do that or you can't break off, this is one of those industries that you can show the world what you can do, what your thing is before you have to make a really huge investment in a brick and mortar building.
I haven't had a boss in 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
Wow.
It's amazing. And there are other things that come with it, but that responsibilities that come with it. But the thing is, just that entrepreneurship, it really defines the big level of entrepreneurship, American entrepreneurship, into something that's really quirky, fun, and relatable. Because everyone might have an old grandma recipe or like a thing that they've always gone to that their family loves. And they're like, the truck allows them to say, hey, maybe I can turn this into a business. And it changed people's lives. When Kogi in 2008 happened and it went viral, I saw hundreds of thousands of people leave their jobs and go start a truck.
Right.
An ice cream truck, a donut truck, a muffin truck, a sandwich truck, and it changed people's lives. And they've never turned back.
I have a very close friend named Young Day Moon, and he was in TV. He was a TV producer in Waco, and he would always come to parties and bring banh mi sandwiches. And we were like, Young Day, dude, you could sell this. And he's like, nah, this is I just always know how to make this.
Yeah.
And so he left. He got a truck. He had to rent a kitchen for a little while because the truck broke down. Now he is the most popular on the Magnolia, Chip and Joanna's grounds. He's the most popular thing doing these trash can rice bowls because Joanna said, this is my kid's favorite thing on Twitter. And you go and there's just a line of people getting trash can rice bowls.
Trash can, that sounds so fun.
Oh, yeah. You come to Waco, I'll take it. I'll take you over there.
Congratulations on the success. And your personality has a lot to do with it. Obviously, your touch and what you do as a chef is amazing. And the fact you're fearless on it, too. We appreciate your time. Good luck.
I appreciate being on this. Thank you very much.
Chef Roy Choi with us here in Vegas, NFL Media Headquarters, 365 Sports.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected. Get involved. Learn how at baylor.edu/alumni.
In our logo and advertising, we say we are people that you can count on. What does that mean? It starts with providing a quality vehicle and quality service at a fair price. But it also means we do what we say we will do, and we treat people fairly with respect. It starts by hiring great people, good local folks who work hard with a caring attitude. Our employees are the real reason we are people that you can count on. Put us to the test and see for yourself that at Richard Carr Motors, we are people you can count on.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Our good friend Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jewelers here at 365 Sports. Now, Brad, people who watch and listen to our show know I'm a double-time customer for you, engagement ring and wedding band, and you guys do that great, but that's not all you do at Boozer's Jewelers.
Absolutely. And I always like to say, it's a new year. It's a great way to start the year out. Go through your old jewelry. Go through your wife's jewelry box. Go through anything you're maybe not wearing, something that's broken, something that you're not using. We do a massive amount of custom work. We can take your old jewelry, old diamonds, old watches, and we can convert it into something special for you and make a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry. And if that's not something you're interested in, a great thing is we can turn that into cash. So we buy gold, we buy diamonds, we'll buy Rolex watches, any kind of heirloom jewelry, anything that's maybe passed down to you.
Boozer's Jewelers, where do they find you, Brad?
We're at 1025 North Valley Mills Drive, right on the corner of Lake Air Drive and Valley Mills with the big clock on the corner.
This is 365 Sports. Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Radio Row NFL Media Headquarters, 365 Sports. Hope you've enjoyed a couple of Hall of Famers today, Kellen Winslow, and then also Steve Largent, among others. And tomorrow, Sean Stellato, NFL agent, who we brought up in our interview with Lee Steinberg, former Orioles, general manager, Kevin Malone?
No, Expos and Dodgers GM.
I thought he was with Baltimore.
I think you're thinking Kevin Kennedy.
Well, no, I'm not.
Yeah, okay. No, Kevin Malone. He was with, he might have been with Baltimore. He was with Minnesota.
Bill Miller, American Gaming Association, Jake Plummer, Randy Grimes, and many others. Neil Smith, former Kansas City, Denver Bronco, great, played at University of Nebraska. Yeah. All right, what do we got here to talk about the game? And I mentioned this before, and all of a sudden we had a guest. Sometimes we get into this bubble here that there's a game going on Sunday. I know the game's going to be there. We'll be back in town to watch it, but I'm just going to if San Francisco wins, I'm okay. Either team, it's not one of those like, I don't care who wins. I want to see a competitive game. I wonder about if Deebo Samuel's had enough time to get even healthier because they need a big play from him, but it's hard for me to go against 15.
Yeah, I think 1-53, if you rank the top best players roster to roster, the 49ers have a deeper roster. Now, it's not by much. It's not like the Chiefs are, some team of, scrappy upstarts. But I do think that 1-53, that's a better roster.
You think San Francisco? Yeah, I agree with you on that.
The problem that it comes for San Francisco is 1-to-1. Like if you just rank the top player on either team, and there's some great ones, but Patrick Mahomes is that one.
Yes.
And he is the best player at the most important position in the sport. So that makes it more difficult. And I don't think this can happen because the Chiefs' defense is so fantastic. But I think if San Francisco wants to win this game, they need to have complete control of the game in the second half. They cannot give Patrick Mahomes a sliver of a chance to make it real, which probably means, you can't waste opportunities. And sometimes you're going to have to take field goals, but honestly, this is not going to be a Jake Moody game. This is going to be a Brock Purdy game. You've got to get touchdowns when you have the opportunity to get touchdowns because the Chiefs' offense is slightly less good than it was before. And I pause to say that because it's not bad. It's not nearly as efficient and prolific as it was. But when you have an opportunity for a team that you can probably hold for the first time and maybe the last time,
right.
This could be the last game for 5 years where you hold the Chiefs to 20 points or below. Then the Chiefs can hold you to below 20 and win the game. That's how good their defense is. So if you have the opportunity to keep the Chiefs at 20 or below, which they do, they need to do that. And they need to score when they have those opportunities.
Well, I'm going to go with 15. I hope Purdy plays well. I'd like to see him play well. Whether San Francisco wins or not, I'd like to see him win just for the sake that he could say, see, because if he doesn't play well and they lose, we're going to get back down that but he's had a heck of a year. San Francisco had their slump. Kansas City's had their slump. Both of them at times you're wondering, but then KC to go on the road and win at Buffalo. We saw Josh Allen here earlier today, and then go on the road also and win in Baltimore. Man, they're playing at a very high level, and their defense has been so just like tough. San Francisco overall, as you said, has the better roster, it appears, but the other team has 15.
So right now with the way college football is starting to obviously we're headed towards the big shift, right, where inevitably more likely a Big Ten, SEC are going to break off. That's to be seen. But right now, if you're the Big 12, can you put a value on how important it is that two Big 12 quarterbacks are going head-to-head in this game? And if you're Brett Yormark, would you want to be there to represent?
Well, he wasn't the commissioner when those guys were playing because they've been gone a while. But I think it's something that we saw. Craig put up a note pretty quickly about not only the quarterbacks, the head coaches have Big 12 ties. Yes, with Shanahan, and now obviously with what's happened with Texas on their way out the door, but they're Big 12 alums, and take advantage of it. I don't know if Yormark's going to be there. He might have been there anyway, whether he's a part of the Big 12 or not, just because of the fact that he could go anywhere he wants, whenever he wants. But I think it's great. I think it's a great story for Iowa State. I think it's a great story for Texas Tech that they're both involved.
I would think his twin brother's probably going to be here, given as gigantic as a businessman as he is.
Yeah.
This would be a place where I think he would be.
Yeah, I don't know how. There's only so many people could fit in that stadium, and a lot of them are usually, though, corporate and or what I call high rollers.
Yeah. Look, if you can be on vacation and Magic Johnson walks into the same place and recognizes you, A, it means you know Magic Johnson. B, it also means you can afford to go to the same place that Magic Johnson goes to.
Mm-hmm.
So, he should write books about life after sports. Holy cow.
Oh, my God. You talk about a guy that's been an unbelievable entrepreneur. Magic.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what? Even Magic has had things that did not work out for him.
Yeah. He was, yes. Oh, yeah. But he was great at basketball, and that was the best thing people thought he would probably ever do in his life because he was so great at it.
Mm-hmm.
How can you be better at life than you are at basketball?
I'll hold my beer. I'll do it.
He did. It just because he was that good at basketball. But yeah, no, he absolutely. He enjoyed, those guys all killed it post-career, and that they did a great job.
They figured it out. They absolutely figured it out. When we come back, Paul Catalina and the top 5 as we're closing out a Thursday on 365 Sports.
Alan Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Alan Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560 or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm, welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Here's Purdy with a lot of time. Steps into one. Launching deep. Going for Brandon Ayuk. It is. Oh, he caught it off the ricochet. Penalty. Is he in?
Live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas, this is 365 Sports. Powered by Sikkim365.com.
Here's Kansas City from the 19. Throwing at the goal line. And it's caught by Kelsey for the touchdown.
Our coverage of Super Bowl 58 is brought to you by Alan Samuels House of Travel, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, TexasBeefHouse.com, IdealMRI.com, Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine, Marco's Pizza, Rogue Media, Camille Johnson Realtors, The Tyler Candle Company, United Nissan.
Third down, four-man rush. Purdy in some trouble. Escapes, looking for the first down. He's got it and more. Brock Purdy with the legs inside the 30.
365 Sports is turbocharged by Unite Private Networks. Find out more at UnitePrivateNetworks.com.
2nd and 10 to the end zone again, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Deion Bush, who just came in 2 plays ago for Mike Edwards.
Now here's David Smoak and Paul Catalina.
He's in our business. He's a radio broadcaster, talk show host. We're in YouTube podcast, but we've been in radio many, many years. Former NFL player Nick Ferguson joins us. How have you enjoyed that transition?
It's been very interesting because being a part of the media was something I never thought I would do, because I kind of looked at you guys, and I guess include myself into it, as being the dark side. I mean, every player looked at media members as like, oh, you guys are just the scum of the earth and you're just evil. You're just looking to break us down every single particular play. But I've since overcome that idea and the perspective, looking at how I looked at the media as a player, because now I'm part of that same group.
Yeah, I've been on your show once before.
Yes.
And, you guys have a fun show. You guys are a really fun show, good energy, you know, fun way to break down things. So, yeah, you bring, like, part of it is also, like, you get to see that, like, most of it is just having fun and chopping it up, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the idea, and every program director always says the same thing. Well, we want to pull in the audience and make it seem as though like you're a bunch of guys sitting around at the bar or whatever, just having a routine conversations with. We see them happen all the time, but that's the whole thing. It's about having fun and presenting interesting perspective. And my whole point is, I don't try to tell you what to think as a fan. I'm just going to present the information and the facts, and I'm going to let you make your own determination, because your truth is your truth. You don't have to agree with me, and I don't have to agree with you.
You know, I love how you say that, and this, we're not promoting what we do. We tell stories, we have content, we report, but we've never tried to, like, we argue with our fan base, chat room, but we're not trying to, like, this is how what I'd rather do is give people 9 different angles to a story and let them make up their own mind.
Yeah, because when we see any given play, right, we all see the same play, but how we break it down and look at it and dissect it is entirely different. And that's kind of what I do. Like, I'll sit there and watch a game, and I'll post the video up and showing fans, here's what happened. I know you saw a touchdown, but how was it that Dak Prescott actually found CeeDee Lamb? What route did they run? What kind of split? What other route on the opposite side of the field opened that up? And I try to give that back. And it's so much of a problem in my household that my family, they don't watch football games with me.
Well, oh, really?
Yeah, they won't. My wife calls me, my nickname is Pause-O-Matic, because she said I pause the television too much. Because my whole thing is, I'm trying to educate my family and fans. So my wife is like, well, we can't get through 4 quarters of a game because you're rewinding the same play like 5 times. So they don't watch football with me.
Yeah, they just want to watch a game, right?
They just want to watch it.
What was it like when you played? Did she critique you?
You know what? No, she didn't, because my wife was not a football fan when I met her.
Okay.
And it wasn't until after I retired that she saw the physicality of the game and then asked the questions like, how did you do that? Or why did you do it? Because when I was playing, I met my wife my 6th year in the league. And once again, she didn't like football at all, which made our relationship that much better. But she would just come and just watch games. She didn't really care because she didn't know what she was watching.
Yeah.
But now that I sit there and I try to explain to her, she knows, and sometimes she doesn't like the hits, and she definitely doesn't like when they show the hits over and over again.
Yeah.
So Patrick Mahomes is a singular talent in the way that, I mean, and there's great quarterbacks. Josh Allen's walking around here today. He's great. Like, so many, but he is something ridiculous in that you can never count this guy out for any reason. Last year he hurts his ankle. He can hardly stand up, but he runs 15 yards for a first down and seals a game. What is it like as a defensive back to know that you've done all you can do and then have a quarterback like that just,
Well, the only thing that you can do in that case, make sure that your guy is not the guy that's catching the touchdown or the pass. So when you go back to the sideline, you talk to your defensive coordinator, and he's asking, what the hell went on? Not my guy, right? That's the only thing that you can do. And the one thing about it, this league is filled with talented quarterbacks. You mentioned Josh Allen. I just saw him about 2 minutes ago. And when you know that you're playing against a guy who is that versatile, who can run and throw on the move, and then we're seeing more of those quarterbacks come into the league, the idea is that we would always say plaster. And that means that you have to keep your eyes on your guy. And I'll tell you, I mean, everyone's trying to figure out how to stop Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. No one seemed to have figured it out. But guess what? You guys watch the same thing that I've watched. But you guys know the answer to it, but you don't realize you know the answer to it, and I'm going to give it to you. What happens is when Patrick starts to move, defenders, innately, we are drilled into us that we have to find the ball. See ball, get ball. So what happens when the quarterback starts to move, we take our eyes off the guy that we're covering, and our eyes, like a moth to a flame, go right to the quarterback. But guess what he's throwing it to? To that receiver. And Deion Sanders had a favorite saying, see it thrown, see it caught. So the idea of being able to come up with some design plan to stop a Travis Kelce, he is the only thing in your direction. If the quarterback throws the ball, he's got to hit you in the back of the head because all of your attention is on Patrick. On Travis, not on Patrick.
Nick,
and that's one of the issues.
When a pass is completed or intercepted, there's a touchdown or whatever, people just see the play.
Yes.
You're breaking it down. Now, some can do it, but how often is who takes the blame actually the person who should have taken the blame?
It's not the case because I played the safety position. And the one coverage I hate the most is cover 2. Because in cover 2, you're asking your linebackers and your corners to be on the same page. And just to kind of give your listeners a walk as far as what that means, if you have 2 receivers on the same side and you're playing cover 2, the corner is taught if the number 2 receiver inside goes vertical, you take number 1 like it's man coverage, even though it's a zone concept. Because if you don't, now the safety has 2 guys on him, and he can't defend a guy running the corner and a guy running the post route. It's hard.
I thought
you were that good.
The tone in your voice when you said it's hard.
Yeah. But look, man, I've really gotten on a lot of corners I played with because they sacrifice us in the back end and being safeties because they're trying to make all these routes, that's underneath the flat routes, the slant routes, because they're saying, and you can ask any DB, when you hear your corner say, I saw something, that means that he's jumping a route that he shouldn't and he's not playing the defense. So my way of making sure the corners understood the message on any given run play. If they're in the way of me making a tackle, I hit them and the runner. Yes.
There you go. Take them up. Now, you see this booklet in front of them. I'll leave it there so they can see it on camera. There's a booklet. I got it right here, Paul. A booklet in front of you is called The Truth About Drugs.
Yes.
There's different pamphlets about things to read here. Foundation for a Drug-Free World. We've seen this ruin lives.
Yes.
Take lives.
Absolutely.
Split up lives.
Yes.
What got you involved in this?
Well, I grew up in the inner city of Miami, and there are people in my family who sold drugs and used drugs, and as crazy the dynamic is, there were individuals in my family selling drugs to other family members. So when you grow up and you see it, and like you're defining it, it destroys the family from within. I just said when I was introduced to the foundation that here's something that I can use and I can help my community. And it's funny because several years back, San Francisco and Kansas City played in the Super Bowl in Miami. Marshall Falk, who was a partner with me on this push with Drug Free World, did a speaking engagement with me at my high school at Miami-Jackson, and we spoke to about 3,000 members of the student body, preaching to them the lessons in this book and how we wanted them to make a commitment to themselves. Right? Forget making a commitment to anyone else. You got to make a commitment to yourself before anything else. And if you're looking out for yourself, everything else kind of falls in line. So this whole thing with Drug Free World is to give information back to educators, parents, teachers, and then put it in language that they can understand. And here's the kicker with the program. It is absolutely free. They get outside donations, so they're able to go around and do camps. This past summer, they did about 20 camps. Roquan Smith for the Baltimore Ravens went and did a camp for him. And you just tell us where the camp is, the date, how many booklets, what you need, and we send volunteers out there with you to help educate you and the people that you're doing the camp for.
By the way, the link is drugfreeworld.org. It's easy to remember, drugfreeworld.org.
You mentioned Roquan Smith.
Yes.
I mean, he's a fantastic player.
Yes.
And people talk about that all the time. He's one of the best dudes in the NFL, isn't he? I mean, I saw
he is.
When he switched his number, he did the jersey buyback and just said, hey, give it free. You know, I changed it, here it was. Met a ton of fans. He's unique in that the outreach that he does.
Well, you know what? That's one thing that's unique about players in the NFL. There are so many players doing positive things that you don't typically hear about in their region or their market. We always hear the bad things that show up on national television or radio. But Roquan is definitely one of those guys who, you know, understands what his position is in the NFL. Right, like we are blessed to play this game no matter how many years we play, and I just feel compelled to use whatever celebrity I have to attach to any cause that's going to help you, myself, your kids, your grandkids, and Drug Free World is one of those programs.
Nick, let me ask you this, and you were right in the middle of it. You mentioned that. How much is peer pressure involved here as far as kids that just can't get away from it?
It's enormous. I talked to my son who plays lacrosse in Denver, and I told him the biggest thing is you have to be mindful of the people you're around. And there are two things that I was told when I was growing up. Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. The next thing was your net worth is your network that's based on the people that you know that can assist you in your life in whatever way, direction that you want to. But peer pressure is really, really tough. And you guys went through high school and elementary. Everyone wants to be associated with the group. No one wants to seem as though they're eating at the lunch table by themselves. So what I tell kids is that it is cool to be uncool. Because sometimes to be uncool, you're doing all these things that your parents wouldn't want you to do or approve of. So it's trying to give the power back to the kids to know that you do or you can make a decision in your life that affects you 5, 10, 15 years down the road.
The Truth About Drugs, Nick Ferguson, now part of radio in Denver. Drugfreeworld.org is the organization. We were going to have you on yesterday. It didn't work out. Thank God we had you on. You're great.
Thank you.
Appreciate all things you're doing and also your personality, what you bring and how you break down the game. And tell your wife and kids we said, well, oh well.
Oh, well. Oh, really quickly. There's only one game that my family will watch with me. It is the Super Bowl, because that's one of the games I will not rewind, because you want to get through the halftime show.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You fired up for this one, Usher?
Say again?
You fired up for this one? Usher should be a good one.
Yeah, man. I am excited about this, because for me, this is big for Kyle Shanahan for a lot of reasons, because he's had a lot of teams that got to this point, and, you know, history remembers you in sports for good things and bad things.
Yep.
And right now, he's trying to overcome the idea of being considered Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah, or Marv Levy.
Yes,
or someone like that that gets to a point, but
never really get over. So I'm really rooting for Kyle Shanahan and my former teammate John Lynch to get that Super Bowl.
Well, Lynch, what he's done there is
man.
just crazy.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, one more question. You played next to John Lynch. Hardest hitter you played next to?
Yes. Here's the interesting thing. I played with John for about 4 years in Denver, and in my entire career, I've only been fined one time, and it was $5,000 for socks. And when you play,
Socks. Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, they're anal about that.
Right. So when you play next to John Lynch, you know how much stuff you get away with, because everyone's always watching him? Yes, exactly.
Nick, God bless you what you're doing, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And your career and what you're doing now in the broadcast business. The truth about drugs. Again, it's drugfreeworld.org. There's the booklet. Nick Ferguson, David Smoak, Paul Catalina, back with more in Vegas.
Alan Samuels House of Travel is a full-service travel agency with highly experienced travel consultants plus support staff with over a combined 150 years in the travel business. They are ready to take care of any travel situation for you, your family, and your business, and with the kind of knowledge to complete a seamless itinerary trip start to finish. They will search for the best deal to accommodate your budget, from air to cars, ship to shore, hotel, and even meeting space. Name a destination and they've been there. They know the places to go, and international and missionary travel is one of their unique specialties. Alan Samuels House of Travel, celebrating 50 years in business. Call Connie, Sherry, Linda, or Bambi at 254-776-2560, or find them on Facebook or at houseoftravelwaco.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
It's time for Paul Catalina's Top 5, brought to you by Texas Beef House. Where's the best beef in Texas? Your house when you order from Texas Beef House. Unleash the flavor of Texas-raised Wagyu. From our pasture to your plate, TexasBeefHouse.com.
Top 5, and thank you for suggesting Smokey. This was your request, and listen, I play requests here. Caller 9 gets the request.
And they win 2 free tickets to Usher.
That's right. All right. So top 5 coaches who also have coached at rival schools. Number 5, Bo Schembechler. Coached 5 seasons at Ohio State before he became the legendary GOAT of coaches at Michigan until just now.
Hated Ohio State.
Yes.
I mean, it's bitter. That's where I saw. That's where I grew up. My age. Ohio State, Woody Hayes, and Bo Schembechler.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 4. This is actually 2 guys, but they both had the same career path. Darrell Royal and Mac Brown both coached at OU before they became the 2 best coaches in the history of the University of Texas.
Yeah, that's Darrell Royal was a hell of a player at OU too. Was he a player or a coach? Yeah. We know what Mac. That's why it was so funny when Oklahoma. They raid all the talent in Texas. Your 2 greatest coaches of all time have ties to Oklahoma.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just. Who I left Gary Patterson off this list because it's inspired by him.
Royal actually played at OU, did not coach at OU.
Okay, played at OU, but yes, OU
hell
and
of a
Texas.
player, yeah.
Number 3, one of the innovators of college football in the 1970s, Emory Bellard, invented the wishbone. He coached at Texas and at Texas A&M. Beloved at Texas A&M. Beloved at Mississippi State, actually, as well. Everybody loved Emory Bellard wherever he coached. I went and got to go to a dinner at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame when he was very sick. They honored him. R.C. Slocum was there and a lot of other people. But he was an innovator, and he coached at both Texas and Texas A&M. And I believe he coached at Texas Tech for a little bit, too.
Bellard?
Yeah,
I believe he did,
so,
too, yeah.
Because he was a high school coach from West Texas. Yeah, he was a high school coach out in West Texas. He and Spike Dykes were the 2 biggest high school coaches in West Texas for a little while.
Yeah, he played at Texas and then spent time at Southwest Texas. This is in the 40s. He coached at Texas, coached at A&M, and then he never was at Texas Tech.
Okay. Yeah, he was...
he finished, and I remember this, he finished as a high school coach at Spring Westfield. Remember Spring Westfield knocked Midway out about 5 years ago or so? But also, when I did games for Lee High School, they played Westwood one time and lost, but it was a non-district game, and I remember oh, damn, I'm calling Emory Bellard.
Yeah, that's wild. Number 2, we'll go to basketball now. Rick Pitino coached at Kentucky, won a title, coached at Louisville, won a title, and
has been in the news lately for his thoughts about paying athletes and stuff.
Rick Pitino, he'd rather be in the news for that than what he was the last time he was in the news. But Rick Pitino,
he's living life.
Yeah, sure.
What did I say?
No, he's living life.
He was living life,
But Kentucky and Louisville, I don't need to say this and reiterate it to you.
They hate each other.
They hate each other very much.
Yeah.
Very, very, very much. And so I'm sure Kentucky fans went insane when he went there. But, he's gone now. So.
He's a part of some movies, too, right? Didn't he, played Scarface and...
No, that's Pacino. Pacino.
He looks just like him.
Pacino.
He looks just like him.
Yes, but, yeah. And number 1, Nick Saban, LSU and Bama. I mean... I know that LSU is not Bama's biggest one, but...
I know.
Look, when they're the 2 teams that are, regularly kind of trading out the SEC West
LSU would have about 10 national championships he wouldn't have left. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, they were set up to just keep winning, just like they are at Alabama now.
Do you hope that the Miami Dolphins lose every game because of what they did?
No, I mean, it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I respect the decision.
It wasn't Miami's fault.
No, I mean, I respect the decision. He had the opportunity to go and pursue something that he wanted to do. I'll never knock him. I'll never knock anybody for going and pursuing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The Alabama LSU thing. I'm not so sure that would. He's the GOAT.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
The reason I said it is, and I know that Auburn is Alabama's biggest rival.
Right.
And LSU's biggest one is probably...
technically, it's considered Ole Miss, but I don't know.
But the fact that these are the 2 that are trading off the division for the most part over the last 30 years now, it's...
No, they've had a run
since they've done that. That's why I put it here. I know that's it's not Michigan Ohio State rival, but it's growing to that point though. I mean,
it's growing. If it hadn't already grown to that point.
But
it's getting.
Things grow, but it's getting to be more fierce by the
with
year.
What Garrett said, LSU's falling apart. So
Hey, they are at this point.
All right, we've run a little bit later than normal today. Thank you. Thanks for the comments. Appreciate you watching. I do think sometimes those of you, when we're not in our studio setting in Waco, that you don't understand what we're doing. About once or twice a year, we will head to certain events. This one's Super Bowl. This is the Radio Row. This is where there's 100 and some stations, and we broadcast the show. We still covered the Mac Rhodes in college football playoff. We covered the Gary Patterson joining Dave Aranda's step in whatever college sports news there might be. So that's where we are. On location, we'll be back in studio and ready to go again Monday. Back here tomorrow from Vegas. For Garrett Ross, Emery Winter, for Paul Catalina, I'm David Smoak. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. You hear them throughout the show. And we're back again tomorrow. 365 Sports Tonight at 10:30 on the CW. Thank you.